Hello, 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 and welcome to the Bada Show. I am one of your hosts here, Dave, and down below is my buddy and partner in crime, Chris. Chris, how are you?
Oh, hanging in there on this is the most holiest of days.
Really? How come?
Oh man. Today,
Yes.
today is Flavortown Day.
What? Get out of here.
That book comes out today.
What book? Guy Fieri has a Flavortown book? Oh, wait, you're talking
He's
about
on
the
the
comic. Oh,
Yes,
good
I
lord.
am. Came out today.
Oh, I thought about like a novel or like a recipe book. I completely forgot about that
No, no,
horrible,
it's
terrible variant
yeah.
cover we had discussed a few episodes back. Look at that. I'm
I'd
so off the
completely
ball.
spaced it, but I popped over. I use Facebook for one reason, and
Mm,
that's to see if comic shops have sales.
okay.
That's it. So I popped over there this morning,
Uh huh.
and one of the local stores has that Guy Fieri issue, and he's going to local restaurants, holding it up and taking pictures with it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Proud, like very proudly, like, hey, check out what I got. I got the new Flavortown variant.
I think so.
Okay. That poor son of a
Yeah,
bitch. That's terrible. Oh my God.
yep.
All
So
right.
today is Flavorton Day.
You know what? Maybe I tried to like
Yeah.
wash that from my consciousness
Hmm.
and that's why I didn't catch on so fast. It was just like one of those, mind douches. Like, please let
Yeah,
this
yeah.
not exist.
I wasn't even going to say anything because Flavortown Day is something. It's personal,
Uh
right?
huh.
I like to celebrate it privately usually,
Yeah.
but today I wanted to share.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'd like to say thank you, but it's kind of hard for me to do so,
Hmm.
considering you're, promoting such a terrible, terrible thing.
So tonight, in honor, you eat a toilet full of Cheetos and you're good to go.
Yeah. Eat some nachos out of a trash can,
Hmm.
and Guy
Hmm.
Fieri will appear.
You might,
You,
he
you
might.
leave some hair bleach
I was gonna say,
by
I'm
the
a, you bleach the sides here, and
by the chimney. I know I already used the word douche one time in this show, but I
mhm,
mean, considering the subject matter, I have to use it again.
yeah,
But how douchey do you have to be as a human being to have that kind of beard? That goatee
yeah,
thing he's got going on.
it's odd, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is odd. It's a statement.
it's a lifestyle. That's what
It
that
is.
is.
It's an aesthetic. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, another reason why you caught me completely off guard with this
Mhm.
subject matter is because before we started recording, we were talking about
Yeah,
television and
we
Alan
were.
Alda being a sex symbol and all these various things. And I
Hmm.
thought maybe,
Hmm.
possibly, we'd lead off with that. But you just threw the freaking knuckle curve at me,
Grenade.
dude, for real, and just knocked me off
Hmm.
my feet. Wow. So,
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, me and Chris were, in fact, talking about laugh tracks on TV
we
shows
were.
and how, what was it? You said your brother-in-law had mentioned. You tell it, because I don't want to
Oh
butcher
yeah.
it.
No, my brother-in-law. We were talking about old TV shows. I
Mm.
think I was talking about Taxi. Taxi, one of my favorites from back in the day, before my time, but one of my favorites anyway. And we just started talking about 70s shows, and he mentioned that for the international cuts of MASH, they'd removed the laugh track. And he said it's like a completely different show.
Mm.
And I can imagine it being a very different show without that forced, contrived. It's like, oh, incoming wounded, ha ha ha. I feel like it would be very different without that. Um, and from there, we were talking about the wife and I started watching Seinfeld from the beginning and how it's been a while since we watched anything with a laugh track. And you had mentioned that laugh tracks were kind of like the telephone poles. You don't notice it. But when you're removed from it for so long and you go back into it, it's like it really takes you out of it. It's really hard to silence it in your head
Right.
because because like a dozen times last night we're watching and like the laugh track went and like we would turn to one another and be like, what was the joke?
Yeah.
Because like the laugh track was not, it didn't always come after a punchline. It would come after whenever, you
Right. Yeah.
know? And it's very discomforting when it's like, what was the joke there? What are we wrong for not laughing at something? It's weird.
That's Big Brother telling you that you're supposed to be laughing right now.
It
That's what
is.
that
It
is. And
is.
as a matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, we also mentioned newer
Because he's
shows.
my butler.
Ha 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 ha. Now,
What?
newer shows, when they have a laugh track, you think,
Awful.
what are you guys doing? It's 2025.
Hmm.
This is no need for this to exist anymore, and
And it sounds so much faker
it
now.
does. It really
Yeah, it's like
does.
you'd figure with the technology it would sound more natural and organic, but
Hmm.
it's not. Yeah.
And it
Yeah, we
still
tried.
follows a lame joke, so it's not even funny to
It's
begin
true.
with. So it's
It's
just
true. Yeah,
even more
we
painful, you know.
yeah, because they made the poor decision of bringing Frasier back last year, and Cheers is probably my favorite show. So we like Frasier as a character. So we're trying to watch the thing, and like 2 seconds into it, the laugh track kicks on. I'm like, oh no, and it was like the worst, most canned sounding applause and laughing. It's like ridiculous, really, really bad.
Somewhere out there, the spirit of Sherwood Schwartz is cackling, saying, "You will never
Mhm.
get rid of the laugh track, you dumb bastards."
No, this 3 hour tour's lasted a century.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, man. I don't know. I've been watching. And guys, I know this is a comic book show. We will get to comics
We'll
momentarily.
get there. We're working our pipes here.
Exactly right. We're just
Yeah.
warming up, if you will, as Chris just aptly
Hmm.
noted. But I've been watching this show on HBO Max or just Max, whatever you want to call it, and it's
Hmm.
fantastic. I like it very much. It's called The Pit,
Hmm.
and it is about an emergency room. I guess the most efficient way to describe it, I read in an article, it's like ER meets 24 because
Okay.
every episode is based on 1 hour of their shift.
Okay.
And Noah Wiley from ER is in it. Some of the producers from ER, so much so um, that people think there might be similarities. That the Crichton estate, Michael Crichton, the creator of ER,
Might sue?
it has sued.
Oh,
Not
no
mine,
kidding.
has, but I do highly recommend it to anybody looking for an interesting television program to watch. I think it's definitely engrossed me and my wife, and I have ranted and rallied against episodic television in this day
Hmm.
and age until I've been blue in the face. So this pains me even more to say, but we are so anxious every Thursday for that new episode to drop.
Hmm.
You know, so we're kind of like grateful when it hits. We're like, oh, we know this is going to be good, and for us,
Oh,
that's rare.
that's but that's something that I think we're really, really missing. I think that's the appointment entertainment period
Hmm.
is something that we are sorely lacking now. Uh, Now I got a stack of books here. We're not going to get into them just yet, but I have absolutely no urgency in reading them because there's just so much shit to read and so much stuff to watch and listen to. There's no. It's so weird
Mm.
that the mandatory wait time. I don't know. I think it. I don't think it'll ever come back, but it's kind of sad that it won't.
Well, I guess in some way to praise the technology we do in fact have, despite the fact I don't like having to wait. I much prefer to binge. Is that and this is the case with many series now on the streamers. It will release, for example, Thursday at 9 p.m. Central.
Hmm.
We don't wait. We're not like sitting in front of the TV Thursday at 9 p.m. Central to watch. We will usually watch it the following day
Sure.
as schedules permit. So that's a little deviation from what you're kind of implying with this
Hmm.
the
Well,
scheduling.
just the wait time, just I mean, because you could DVR, you could tape,
Right.
so I mean there was always a method to
Tape
it.
was never an option. That's the thing. That's a big
Mhm.
misconception. The VCR was probably the most difficult contraption to ever program in the history of any programmable device.
Oh, I used it all the time.
Really, I could not program
Oh
my
yeah.
VCR to save my life. If you had a gun to my
Hmm.
head and asked me to
Hmm.
program a VCR in 1992, I wouldn't be doing the Bada Bin show right now. I'd be
Oh,
up
dude.
there with Sherwood Schwartz.
No, I would go through when the Sunday paper would come with that like little TV guide,
Hmm.
and I'd go through it looking for any pro wrestling, Laurel and Hardy, no matter what time of day, night, I would have it set, and I'd have it. So I was into the VCR aesthetic a long, long
Oh,
time.
well, let me tell you, when TiVo and DVR first
Sure.
came out, I was the happiest guy on the face of the earth. I'm like,
Oh
this is
yeah, made it so
amazing.
much easier.
Forget putting a man on the moon. This is what we needed my entire life. You know what I mean?
But here,
Especially being
here's the
what's that?
thing: as a very, very sick in the head collector,
Mm-hmm.
DVR kind of messed with me because like I literally have a storage unit that has 20 big brown boxes full of VHS tapes.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably all melted at this point. But
Right.
I mean, it was like collecting. Just another one of those addictive things that's wrong with me. Where it's, I got like 7 years of every Monday Night Raw and every wrestling pay-per-view taped, and you don't really need that anymore.
Well, once the apocalypse hits and we're fighting against each other
Sure.
in a society gone awry, when hospitals fail to exist anymore, they've been looted, raided, destroyed, and I am suffering from some life-threatening wound, I will beg them to take me to your VCR, or actually your VHS shed,
There you
to
go.
bandage me up with this brittle brown
Oh,
tape that you
you
have
can watch if
stored
they're
for
not
years.
melted. I mean, I think there's 10 full EP length tapes of Kids in the Hall in that
I
storage
own the
closet.
DVDs, but thanks for the offer. You know,
Ah,
and
yeah.
that's the other
They come
thing.
with Comedy Central commercials.
That's great though. That's something that cannot be beat. You're right, because the thing with the DVR too was it took me forever to delete stuff. It'd have to be
Mhm.
until like, hey, your storage is full,
You're
man.
full. Yeah.
Now you got to get rid of something. You go, I might watch this someday.
Mhm.
So that was always a tricky situation. But still, yeah, man, I would take the DVR every day, all day, just because, yet again, the VHS was so confusing to me. I mean, I think
A
the
lot of
most
moving parts.
advanced thing I ever did with the VHS was like
Mhm.
the whole thing you do with the cassettes and like taping over the holes so you could tape over something,
Oh
record
yeah,
over
yeah,
something rather.
yeah. The little thing, the little snap tab.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was as far advanced as I got with the technology provided to me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Um, yeah, who really needs this copy of Jane Fonda's workout? Let's put Howard the Duck on there instead.
Throw it on
You
there.
know?
Mm.
Yeah. So
I already sweated to the oldies. I don't need to do it again.
I got deal a meal. All right.
Up yours, Tybo.
Yeah, exactly. Take that, Tybo. Stop the insanity. No way. Make it crazier.
Hmm.
What the hell were we even talking about?
I already know how to line dance. I don't need this video.
I think I lost my train of thought going into the weeds on this whole thing here. Oh yes, comics relating to that. You just mentioned I have a stack of comics that we will discuss momentarily, which in a way is in fact appointment viewing because they only come out once a month, bi-monthly, whatever the case may be. Yet you can also read them at your leisure.
Hmm.
So it's
Hmm.
very similar to streaming and DVRs and what have you. So it all ties together in one fine little knot there, my friend, one way or the other. Yeah, I don't know what you were. Was that a sailor's knot? Was that
It's a taut line hitch.
a
I don't
taut
know what the
line
hell
hit?
it is.
Is that an Urban Dictionary?
No, it was a Boy Scout thing,
Oh, I was never in the Boy
which might be
Scouts.
a Urban Dictionary thing now.
I'm sure. I'm sure
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. So, what else has been going on with you? Anything of note before we start going through some back issues and ephemera for the
No,
masses here?
no, same old, except working.
Yeah. You're a working man, indeed. Punching in the morning, bringing home that bacon, punching out in the
Yeah.
afternoon.
Still working for the family business, but that doesn't give benefits. So
Hmm.
here we go.
Yeah. Did you ever divulge what you exactly do? Do you even want to? Is that even necessary?
Yeah, that's a
Keeping that private?
nobody would
Well,
care.
there's only so many dead hookers you can keep in the trunk before you finally have to buy a new car. You know what I mean? Just saying. Just saying.
They just go in the hollow mattress.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we all got one of those just laying around. Now I'm gonna change screens here real quick because
Hmm.
last week was the debut of our new friend named Bada. Oh, there he is. I think he was waiting for me to say his name. Happy little guy. Happy little Bada. And with that came some little hiccups technically and what have you. I mean, I did mention I couldn't even master recording VCR. But
Hmm.
one of the things we had going on was this new kind of stretched out split screen image And
Mhm.
I did some edits this week with the help of Bada to kind of see if maybe this is more
Hey,
amiable to people's eyes.
because they say the camera adds 10 pounds, right? 10 pounds wide.
That's something I definitely don't need. But me and Bada definitely collaborate. Oh, yes, I know Bada. We collaborated on this, and now
Hmm.
we've made it. So maybe this is a nice little camera shot for folks at home to enjoy compared to some of the other new options that we have, and even more potentially coming their way. So I'll leave it
Hmm.
on this little screen here for a few minutes before
Okay.
we dive in. I think we're going to lead off with my back issues, right? Because I had a week of, yeah, there we go. Big thumbs up of some bad hat, Harry. Before we do, one
A-
last.
Am I lagging?
I don't see you lagging. I don't hear you lagging.
Okay. Okay.
I don't
Maybe
know.
it's just on my end.
Okay, it could be. I mean, let me see if I can find you because I have our YouTube going on this big screen TV over here in the corner. You appear
Hmm.
to be fine. You're
Okay.
looking good, Englewood. Um,
Hmm.
one last real life question before we get into the back issues and stuff. The other
Hmm.
day, I was getting ready to do something out with the family, and I grabbed a pair of socks and I put them on, and I went, "Oops, wrong socks." They were dark socks. I wanted white socks, not appropriate for the
Hmm.
situation. So here's where the dilemma in question resides. The moment I took them off my feet, I looked at them, put my little, balled them back up again. I went, eh. I threw them in the hamper.
Okay.
They were dirty. They were soiled. They weren't good for another wear. They were only on my feet for maybe like 10 seconds. You know what I mean? 15 seconds or
Mm.
something before I went, oops, wrong socks. Now I ask you, if you were in that
Hmm.
situation, would you have balled them up and put them back into your dresser? Or would you have been slightly neurotic like me, looked at them, and said, no, you're soiled. No good. Wash you.
Well, it's a trick question because I probably wouldn't have taken them off. But
Oh, okay. You just,
if I
yeah.
did, back in the drawer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was wearing shorts. I can't wear black socks with shorts. Can't do it.
Okay.
Just me. I know it might be weird or whatever. I was hoping I'd find like a brother in arms on this whole thing and
I
not.
don't really wear shorts.
Okay. You obviously don't know
Yeah.
how to wear socks either.
No,
But
I mean, nobody wants to see my very, very white legs.
therein lies another problem, you see, because if you
Hmm.
don't expose them sooner or later, how are they
Hmm.
ever going to get sun so they're not so ghastly white anymore?
It's a Schrodinger's calves.
Dude, yes.
What color are they? They're under there. They could be whatever color.
Anything you want. As long as you don't expose them, we'll never know either which way.
Hmm.
But I mean, I was
Yeah.
embarrassed for my family. Don't get me wrong. I was like, but I got to do it. It's
Hmm.
like 80 degrees today. It's a beautiful day. Biggity bam, biggity boom.
Hmm.
I got to let these legs breathe. You know,
Sure.
today's the day to do it. But even then, I was a little self conscious about it. I'm like, people are gonna be like, oh my god, is that like a radiated skin? It's translucent. It's so white. It's terrible. You know what I mean? But alas, I went with it. So I guess yes, I am the only weirdo in the world who will put on a apparel clothes for less than a minute's time and decide, no sir, no sirree, Bob, you are now not
Enough's
suitable
enough.
until you've been freshened back up with new detergent and scent beads, since I am a
Hmm.
scent bead addict.
Hmm.
So I don't even know if they work that great. I just love them. All right, everybody's
Don't
like,
know.
geez, guys, will you stop now? Can you talk about comics, please? Anything but this, I'm sure. So that's what we're going to do. Because I did
Hmm.
mention this week, I dived into some back issues. I also mentioned some Bad Hat Harry because a couple of these items I'm going to discuss with you, Chris, I
Hmm.
just picked up like with my last shipment with my new comics. They were piggybacked,
Hmm.
so they were newer to me. A couple of these things were just laying around, and I figured, what the hey, why have I not read these
Sure.
yet? They're just gathering dust, and that's what I'm going to lead off with first, as a matter of fact. And it's a character I'm not overly keen on. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of. And to be perfectly honest with you, I have not said very nice things or kind mentions about this writer as of late. So there was a series of Doctor Strange with Mark Waid and Jesus Says.
Hmm.
Now, yet again, to reiterate, I've never been the biggest Doctor Strange fan, and despite my love for Jesus Says, thinking he's one of the greatest artists of this generation, it was one of those things where I'm like, if I see it, I'll pick it up, but I'm not going to sub to it. So when this trade landed in my sticky little palms for $1,
That's a trade?
I know, dude.
That is thin as hell.
Dude, did you not notice when I texted you about this yesterday? I put trade
Hmm.
in quotations,
Holy
and it would
cow.
have retailed for $15.99 is what they were asking
Oh,
for
kiss
this.
my ass, Marvel.
Yes. So it
God,
contains. I'm sorry, real quick.
You could slide that under a door.
You could. You could probably like open a door with it, like
Oh,
pick a lock.
Jesus. Yeah, like a credit card back on TV.
Indeed. This contains Doctor Strange 2018 issues 18 through 20, so 3 issues, and Doctor Strange
It went
Annual.
20 issues?
Number one, yes. As a matter of fact, this I remember seeing there was like a surgeon. Let me look at this so I don't misspeak.
Oh, the Surgeon
Is that
Supreme?
what it's called? Yeah, because
I think
this is
so.
what led into that. I can't flip pages at all. But anyway, until I find that. Yes. So anyway, this was the end of the series, and I'm like, you know what?
Hmm.
Again, it's just little thin things sitting there, my bookshelf behind me. I'm like, let me give it a read. I read it through its entirety. Jesus Says is still just friggin' spectacular.
Hmm.
So, dude, I assume if you paid cover price for any of these issues, his art alone would be worth the price of admission. Story wise, I was kind of surprised because the first issue number 18, I truly
Hmm.
enjoyed. I thought
Okay.
Mark Waid nailed it because it was one of those. I don't want to call it slice of life because it's not about Doctor Strange necessarily. It's about a family whose home has been invaded by like an evil demon, the Pipes,
Hmm.
and Doctor Strange is essentially like a soul plumber. Like he just shows up out of nowhere to upend their lives and destroy this demon that they were,
Okay.
unbeknownst to them, was using their home as like this portal. And it's funny, it's action packed, and I'm like, man, this little thin trade might have some substance to it. It
Hmm.
might be all right. And the rest of it, not great. Not great at
Hmm.
all. So they got me with the first issue, had me feeling optimistic, and then there on out, man, I'm glad I only spent $1 on this thing because
No joke.
yet again, and the art was Jesus Says only did a couple issues here, and then it was a film
Okay.
notice, so I only get so much of my Says Supreme before I
Hmm.
got blah, so moderate art. So ultimately, do I think you should read this? Should you buy this? Dave's official opinion, if you spend $15.99 on this, what Chris said earlier rings true. You swore, you got upset, you're like, Marvel, what are you even doing to me here? Don't do
Hmm.
that. But if you see it on the cheap, couple bucks or whatever, and you just want to have it, go for it. But it's definitely not going to change your life. It's definitely not probably the best Doctor Strange stories ever produced in the history of Doctor Strange stories. But alas, I don't know exactly what you'd expect picking up this very thin little. Let's call it a pamphlet, right? Let's be
Yeah.
honest. Call things for what they are. Are you interested in Hare Krishna? You are? Well, I have something for you. Ding dong. It's the Mormons. Hi, would you like to learn about the Church of Latter day Doctor Strange? There you go.
Have you accepted Doctor Strange into your life?
Yeah, exactly. Is your sorcerer supreme. Next up on the docket, this is an issue that I've been kind of eyeballing for a long time, but yet again, I'm going to stress all these things were on the cheap,
Hmm.
which made them worthwhile, I suppose, even if the contents weren't always top of the pops. You know what I mean? But this one in particular, I picked up because it is a very small Jonah Hex appearance in Time Masters #3 from 1990.
Hmm.
Another interesting thing about this book is Art Thibert is the penciler here.
Oh, he's usually an Inca.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you look at some of his work in the past, he really can amplify and truly elevate a lot of artists,
Sure.
pencilers. So to see Art Thibert on the book, I mean, I don't know if there's been many issues from him in the past I've ever read as a penciler
Hmm.
or just the all out artist, but if so, I didn't remember. And
Sure.
to be honest with you, he drew the cover, and the cover doesn't look half bad.
No, when I looked at it real quick, I thought it was Giffen.
Really?
Yeah.
I can
But
kind of see
I
that
looked at it
now.
real
Yeah.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess at your first glance, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like that long chin.
Yep. Yep. I can totally relate to that as well. Seeing that as a reason why. Now the interiors though feel much more sloppy, rushed,
Hmm.
very, for lack of a better term, painful. I'm not overly familiar with Time Masters. This is the only issue of Time Masters I've ever read. Now, Chris, I'm sure
Is it like
you
Rip Hunter?
exactly. You just took the words out of
Okay.
my mouth. I was going to say, you know, Rip Hunter, his
Hmm.
little mod squad of time travelers. This is what that's all
Yeah.
about.
In the new format.
Fancy schmancy, right?
Hmm.
The deal with this, though, is they have to travel back to the Old West. Actually, I think this is in Mexico. Oaxaca, Mexico, as a matter of fact,
Okay.
in the mid to late 1800s. But when they do that, they send one of the team members back and they give him specific instructions. Make sure you take off your glasses. You don't want to alarm any of the native people to,
Hmm.
futuristic stuff and what have you. So, of course, as the story progresses here, what does he do first thing first after he meets Jonah Hex? Of course, he's an African American guy, so they assume, all right, well, maybe he was a freed slave
Sure.
or what have you. No, no, he just jumps out, pulls out a Polaroid, and says, "Hey, you know what I am? I'm a magician." Nothing better to break all the rules of time travel when in your
Right
first
off the bat.
encounter
Yeah.
with anybody from the past. And then it does go on to show people in the streets playing with a Polaroid camera, taking pictures and kind of goofing around. Now, story wise, don't know what I expected out of this.
Hmm.
It was okay, wasn't great. I think that might be the running theme of all my back issue reviews over the course of the Bada Bin show today.
I think that's the tagline for the show overall.
Slow your roll, guy. Okay, but you could definitely meh all over the place when it comes to issues that exist, such as Time Masters #3. This is a limited out of 8. So I wonder if it was ever collected in trade, which is interesting because a lot of
Doesn't
these '90s books and stuff, it was kind of well, we know for a fact is before this whole more recent. Everything's written for the trade. Everything must be collected in
yeah.
trade. Boom. So your only options, I suppose, if you really did want to check this out and you like kind of time traveling shenanigans, would be to pick up the single issues.
Yeah,
But yet
because that's
again,
also like a mini
cheapo.
series from between Crisis and Zero Hour, which like so many of those miniseries are just like they may as well have never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking
That's
at
true.
Thibert, however we say his name's penciler page here, and not terribly prolific in the penciling department.
Well, I'm going to show you why. Here's his version of Jonah Hex, who,
Oh,
as yes, ooh,
he looks like one of those Boglins.
you're right. He does look like a
Yeah.
boglin. You're absolutely correct there. And we all know he's got like that skin on the side of his face. But here, I don't know. What do you call that divot underneath your nose? Is there a scientific term for that? There must be.
There's got to be.
We're not the brightest bulbs on the tree, but I never knew his was saggy like that. It looked like goo.
It's the Philtrum.
Okay, the filtrum is goo. Did you
Hmm.
just make that up, or is that legit?
That's legit.
Okay, I'll take your word
The
for it.
philtrum is a narrow groove that may carry dissolved odorants from the
Well,
rhinarium or nose pad to the vomeronasal organ via ducts
okay.
inside the mouth.
Well, Mr. Thibert needs to go back to the drawing board
Mm.
and work on that just a wee bit.
Yeah,
But
it
still,
almost
hey man,
looks like something out of Archie almost.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because some Archie adjacent stuff's going to come up in a little bit.
Ruh-roh.
Rutro is correct. So anyway, got this on the cheap, and it was worth it just for the Jonah Hex,
Appearance.
completist. Yeah,
Yeah.
completionism alone, I suppose. Definitely won't rock your world. But hey, I read it, so you didn't have to. See
Hmm.
how that all works out? All right, so what do I got next in here? I'm trying to queue up everything on the computer screen and find it in real life at the same time.
Hmm.
Bear with me here. There we go. All right, something I got next is far more recent, and it is related to picking up something for a character appearance because I did the same exact thing here. And this is an anthology. The dreaded DC anthology. Why is it
Ten,
dreaded?
$10.
Thank you.
Mm,
So simpatico, you and I. If this is cheaper, whatever. I
yeah.
don't care. You want to do holiday themed issues? Be my guest, man. I'm all for it. I love the holidays.
Hmm.
Let's go. I mean, even if it's like $5. I mean, like the or
Most
four
things
ninety
are.
nine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to make something 10 freaking smackaroos,
So bad.
and then the other thing is, from the jump, you're not getting
It's going to be
anything
full of crap.
of substance
Yeah.
or landmark stories. Usually, I mean, I do would like to, or I'd like to invoke the audience here. If you know of any anthology series that have had an impact on you, or have a story of maybe some worthwhile substance, make sure you email the show, badabinshow at gmail.com, so you can prove me wrong. Because right now, I'm going to
Are
say,
we limiting that to $10 anthologies or just generalized anthologies?
mm, let's say more recent, I suppose, like the $10 ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what are you thinking? Like a Christmas with the superhero style thing,
Well, I mean,
or
those
what?
those were fun back in the long ago, but when they do them now, it's like it's almost like a, new talent showcase
Mm-hmm.
where it's like they put these writers who don't have much experience on Superman to tell a Christmas story, and it's like it's very reminiscent of the who was it? Hawk Girl having feeding nom noms to her gerbils, in that one book where
Yeah.
it's not like a actual Christmas with the superheroes.
No, I follow you.
Yeah, I
Um,
did fall for an anthology not too long ago. The I Know What You Did Last Crisis.
yes.
Uh-uh.
Hurts, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
No
Maybe we
bueno.
can bring you out to that VHS shack and wrap you up because they hurt you. I don't know if that kind of sealant,
Mm,
melted tape or not would fix the wounds you
it
have deep
might. It
inside.
wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
can't. Nothing can
And
hurt even more than
and
that.
like
Yeah.
the Are You Afraid of the Dark Side one? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, it's
Right.
clever title, but they checked out after the title. It was
Yeah.
the George Costanza goodbye. It's like, I Know What You Did Last Crisis. That's great. See ya.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Well, that's the thing, right? Listen, if you collect, it's your money. You can spend it on whatever you want
Sure.
to. Fine. Your
Flavor Town
prerogative.
all day.
Exactly. You know what? As long as you're happy, I'm happy.
Hmm.
And obviously, you think there has to be a market for these if they keep producing them. I know
Yeah.
just recently, too, there was like a Lex Luthor Valentine's Day one themed or titled.
All
Me
right.
personally, had I not gotten this for a single George Washington, there is no way in hell I would ever pre order something like this, even at a
No.
discount off cover.
Yeah.
No way. And I'm pretty sure, reading solicits as much as I do, I knew at the time there's going to be a Swampy story in here.
Hmm.
And I was like, 2 or 3 pages, 4 pages of Swampy, is it really worth
Sure.
No, 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 not happening. But since, yeah, alas, I just mentioned I did get this for a $1 bill. I hadn't read the Swamp Thing story. So I decided, let's go for it. Let's see if it's any good. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it might have a little something going on there. Plus, it's Swamp Thing. Give me more Swamp Thing.
Arg.
Yes, the pros, the pros. Um, Sad to say, this did not cut the mustard at all. It was a very bland, dry, boring story in which the
Hmm.
writer tried his best to do his riff on Alan Moore, I think, which is many
Uh,
writers fall into that terrible trap where they want to get,
uh-huh.
a little too poetic and prosy for their britches.
Sure.
And this story definitely paid the price because, really, just to give you a quick synopsis of what happens here, it's in the future,
Hmm.
much like the dystopian future I discussed with your tapes serving as a hospital.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
planet is irradiated, and these
Hmm.
father and I don't know if it was a son or a daughter, they are checking out these lands to see if there's any kind of things to eat, any way to survive, and they are attacked by this mutated beast, which is amalgam of all the different swamp creatures. Plus, it has like an engine for a
Hmm.
heart. To which Swamp Thing pops out of nowhere, defeats it, and there's a whole lot of I don't know, narration boxes about rebirth and regrowing and how
Uh,
the green will always win because despite decay and yada yada yada. And this was written by Zach Thompson, art by
don't know who
Andy
that is.
McDonald. This is on the screen right now. That's why I could even remember who did this story. But
Oh, the art ain't half
yeah,
bad.
no, it was okay. It was a little muddled, a
Yeah.
little
No,
clumsy, a little clunky here and
and
there.
the monster almost reminds me a little bit of the what is it, the animal, vegetable, mineral man from Doom
I
Patrol
can see
back in the
that.
day.
I can totally see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also checked out. There's another story in here with written by Tim Seeley, illustrated by Kelly
Hmm.
Jones, a Dead Man Damian Wayne story that was
Oh, weird.
weird. Is right. It was definitely weird. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Nothing in this is worth $10. That's what we can say about that, right? You know, even if it just piques your curiosity a little bit because you're a fan of a certain character.
Hmm.
There's a Super Son story in here where the whole
Hmm.
gimmick is they dress up like each other and then try to go trick or treating at the Fortress of Solitude. Hijinks ensue. Nah, nah. So yeah, I feel like if I keep talking about it, it's not going to lead down any positive
Nowhere
strains of
productive. Yeah.
conversation. So I'm probably just digging a hole for myself here. Now I did mention we're going to get a little Archie Comics adjacent. And the
Yeah.
reason for that is, have we discussed Bayou Billy on this program yet?
We have. I showed off the set I bought.
Okay, wonderful. This
Hmm.
has been an
Hmm.
in joke with you and I for so long
Oh, I think I know where you're heading. Okay.
because yes, Billy and Billy, like I know him personally. Hey there, Billy. Bayou Billy. You gotta say
I
his
just call him Bill.
no. You gotta say his first name. From Archie Comics. I forgot who wrote it, but every sentence ends with an exclamation mark.
At least one.
At least one. So it's like, hey, you want
Hmm.
some sugar for your coffee? You want some sugar for your coffee? Everything, boom.
Hmm.
Or like
Everything.
they're whispering, they're hiding in a closet, hiding from a killer.
Yeah.
Everybody's yelling.
He's right out there.
Right, exactly. So recently, again in one of
Oh,
the
your brother popped in the chat and is saying he's clinking
he
cups.
likes to clink them
For,
cups. He really does.
yeah.
You might have a
It's a
drinking
pillow.
problem if all you're doing is clinking cups. So I'm a big Conan fan. There's no way in hell I've ever read all of Conan's material. Right? There's this gross abundance of it between novels and
An
comics.
embarrassment of it,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. And then so when there was a sale, I came across some early '80s Conan that I did not own. In this
Hmm.
case, Conan the Barbarian, 156 from Marvel, and this was written by Michael Fleischer
Hmm.
of Jonah Hex fame. Now Fleischer is a known
Michael Fleischer takes Conan the Barbarian into a brave new
brave
era.
new era, heights unseen before.
Everything you thought you knew was wrong.
About Conan, yes. So I'm thinking, all right, man, this is gonna be great because I really dig like his Jonah Hex material quite a bit.
Hmm.
Let's see. I've never read his Conan stuff before, so let's go for it. You know. Problem is, Fleischer is pre Bayou Billy exclamation mark writer extraordinaire. So whenever you
Hmm.
read Jonah Hex, whenever you read a lot of his stories, he just uses that exclamation mark like it's going out of style. We're never going to see it again once you close the chapter of this book. It really struck me on this one, and I was alarmed by
Hmm.
it, and I was a little disturbed by it. The other thing about this issue is the cover is wonderful because it does tell quite a bit about the story and what you need about know about
Okay.
the story. It's not deceitful by any stretch of the imagination.
Hmm.
Conan falls into a cave and fights a man consuming monster. Wonderful.
Okay.
I love that kind of material. Give me more. The weird thing about this one is, for the first, whatever, 10 pages of the issue, just that, what you see here. The
Hmm.
remainder of the issue is all backstory on how that monster came to be. To me,
Okay.
in many ways, I don't know how you feel about it, but it almost felt like reverse scripting. You know what I mean? Wherein many times you'd want to give the origins of evil before exposing evil. Does that make
Well, did they?
sense?
Was this the first introduction of this
Yeah,
critter?
this is a one and done.
Now, I can go either way, I think.
Okay, and
It's like, here's this thing, and here's why he is the way he
and
is,
it was
or
heavy,
this
man.
is how he came to be.
It was like really like very detailed backstory on this
Hmm.
beast here on the cover, and it was good. I enjoyed the read. Exclamation marks, the really heavy back end of the story in the book.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it, but I was so unnerved by it for some reason. I felt icky for at least 24
Okay.
hours after reading it. I don't know if
Hmm.
that makes any sense to anybody else out there in the universe, but you like something, yet for
Hmm.
some reason it's just a little odd, a little different, maybe a little out of the box than what you have been reading or that you're used to, and it disarms you a little bit. And that's what
Hmm.
Conan 156 did for me. So,
And poor Rastor never came back.
no, no, that was it for
Yeah.
him and his brother. I don't know if the
This
bride ever came back, but yeah.
That's weird.
Mm.
I'm looking at that. I'm looking in the always accurate Marvel wiki,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows all these characters as being in Earth 616.
Okay, they're in continuity.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
weird.
All right.
Mm.
Is speaking an exclamation mark in continuity for everybody? Is
Hmm.
that something
Hmm.
too? We don't know. It could
That's
be.
it.
In these days and times, we don't know what's real, what's
Hmm.
not, what if, Elseworlds. I don't know. So, unlike the other issues I discussed, from like you can live with them or without them, I would recommend if you
Hmm.
saw this in like the dollar bin or something, you could
Hmm.
definitely do worse for a Conan story. The art, why can't I speak all of a sudden? Because I'm on air.
Is it
John
a Buscema?
Buscema or Buscema,
Hmm.
where um, tomato is the artist on this, and I mean he is the go-to Conan guy. I think in many people's eyes. I know some would say like Barry Windsor Smith or maybe another notable artist, but for me, Buscema is the bee's knees when it comes to Conan.
Hmm.
All right, now the next two things, let me see, because I love a good segue, so I'm going to save this other one for later. I feel like I'm a
Cool.
magician trying to do like sleight of hand with these
I didn't
books.
see
Yeah,
anything.
exactly, like you wouldn't notice.
Ah.
Is this your watch, sir? Is this your card?
Yeah, Queen of
Yeah,
Hearts.
no. All right, let me cue up the next photo of the comic I want to show here because we are
Hmm.
top-notch program here. We got all this
High tech.
technology. This is very high tech, except for the person
Hmm.
operating it, who is not very high tech whatsoever. I'm just going to start blaming Bada Bot for that instead and see what he thinks.
Mm.
Oh, Bada Bot did not care for that at all. I am sorry, Bada Bot. My fault. Operator error. My bad. And it's fairly interesting to me that I'm bringing this up before the final issue
Hmm.
because this was the last issue or book I started to read last night in a
Yeah,
last ditch effort to save my weekly reading. Because I told you, man, I'm like, dude, this has been rough.
it's all meh.
This is very meh for me, and this hurts, man. Because
Hmm.
I love talking back. I love talking comics, but talking back issues, man, bread and butter.
Hmm.
So I want to be pumped. I want to be excited about what I read. And the moment I showed you this, you were like, no way, wrong choice. You know, I was about to click the loser button.
Just a
Oh,
terrible era.
terrible era
Ugh.
of Spider-Man, and this is Peter David, who has been in the news
Hmm.
quite a bit lately due to
Hmm.
his health woes.
It's true.
But he is still overall an excellent. If you think about a lot of his stories, okay, X Factor
Hmm.
was pretty good.
Oh
Hulk was
yeah,
pretty
very
good.
good.
He's written a lot of good Spider-Man stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So there I am thinking, I know. I really this era in particular, the Iron Spider stuff or whatever might be a little rough. But I mean, with Peter David, can I
Mm.
necessarily go wrong? Can Peter David save me? Plus, you got Ringo on art. I mean,
Yeah,
come on
yeah.
now, beautiful stuff, right? Is art
It's probably toward the end of his run, huh?
and Roger Cruz was fill-in artist on this. Roger Cruz, another artist who I think is pretty solid.
Yeah, he was like the Joe Madureira cover guy, right? Like when Madureira would
He
be.
was an X-Men, you're right, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And that was the thing. And the moment I mentioned his name, the first kind of concept that pops in my brain when I talk about Roger Cruz, like, because
Hmm.
I remember him from X-Men in particular.
Hmm.
Um, he's a good artist, but early on in the stuff that I remember, it always seemed like
Hmm.
he was trying to do or cop someone
He
else's
was always
style.
aping somebody. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
aping somebody. And in this
Yeah,
one,
that's what he was kind of known for. Majiwara would even like rag him about it.
oh really?
Yeah.
I mean, it was noticeable. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Here,
absolutely.
his
But
fit.
it's what the job demanded, you
Yeah, of
know?
course, especially in that day and age.
For
I
sure, for
mean, trying
sure.
to keep up with the top artists, especially if you're filling in for them and what have you, you want to kind of
Hmm.
maintain some kind of level of quality there.
Yeah, you don't want like people to skip your issues because the art's not good, you know?
Right. I think his art in here was actually really decent, so I was very
No, I
happy
never
with
had a
that.
problem with them.
Um,
Yeah.
just like in the case of Doctor Strange, that trade, the first issue
Hmm.
is about a woman who is writing a blog and her encounters with Spider-Man. And I don't know if I started this before and didn't finish because
Hmm.
I did. It was like deja vu. I'm like, I know this story. I
Probably because I've told that same story a half dozen
Okay.
times.
Well, she ends up like creating this blog with all of her encounters with Spider-Man from when she was a
Hmm.
teenager up through adulthood, and how she eventually gets a restraining order against Spider-Man. To which the judge was even like, "Do you even realize what you're trying to accomplish here? Like, you can't get, he's a vigilante. We can't control him. There is no say which way he
We don't
goes.
know who he is.
Right?
Yeah.
You want like this 1,000 foot restraining order. What if he swings overhead in the street? What do you expect us to do?
Hmm.
Arrest Spider-Man for that and whatever." But the judge does note, he's like, one day I had a guy come in here. He wanted a restraining order because he thought Martians were invading his brain waves. And I figured, what the hell? I gave it to him because it brought him peace of mind. He went home a
And
happy
it's the
man.
Marvel Universe.
Yes, yes, correct. Trust me, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, in this universe,
Hmm.
anything can, in fact, and will
Hmm.
happen. But it does eventually go into the future and post Spider-Man, what the world is like without Spider-Man as a superhero. And Mary Jane confronts this woman as Spider-Man's widow. And I thought it was a really good issue
Hmm.
overall. Then, as I progressed through the book, it weakened, to say the least. Wherein, do you remember? You were picking up this series at the time because this collected
Yep,
issues 5 through 10 of
I'm
Friendly
sure.
Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hmm.
And when he had the luchador who was needing to fight Spider-Man to unmask him to retain his own
Oh, it's
powers.
it's I haven't read it since it's come out,
Oh, okay, it's
so
been that long,
yeah.
and it didn't make a
Oh yeah,
lasting
yeah.
imprint on you.
No, no, I was falling out of Spider-Man pretty hard at that point.
Yeah, it is not the best. It's yet again, it's okay. The art is fine in it. Nothing wrong to say about that. The story
Sure.
is okay as far as superheroes and capes and stuff go. But it led off, I think, with something particularly strong, and as it progressed, it just went kind of ho hum.
Hmm.
So, did it save my week? Not necessarily. Did that first issue, issue number 5, make me think, make me take a
Maybe.
pause a little bit, and that made me feel pretty good. So, was it the hero I needed? Not necessarily. Is it the hero I deserved? Most likely,
Perhaps.
perhaps. But that's what I ended up doing last night. And then the reason why this final issue is something I want to save for last is because it does lead into some other
Mhm.
avenues of discussion for us here today on the Bada Bin Show. And just to warn you, this cover is a little alarming for some, I suppose, in today's climate because it does reference race a little bit. But this is Jonah Hex number 28 from September 1979.
Mhm.
Now, one of the fascinating things, just to talk about this cover real quick,
Mhm.
if you look in the corner, the DC Bullet logo, the majority of DC comics released this month had that really awkward colored logo in the corner.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah. So it was kind
Yeah.
of nice to pick up a little bit, I guess, in your way of explaining it, a little bit of ephemera, right? A little something
It's
related
history.
to
Yeah.
history, where it was a very
Yeah.
bad design choice. It does not look good at all. So that's nice.
But it's kind of the good kind of bad.
Oh yeah, please explain.
I don't know. It stands out. It's it's just something that you could pinpoint.
Okay, yeah.
It's not too terribly distracting, but it's different enough.
and it would make for an interesting like collector's habit. Like I'm trying to collect
For
every
sure.
DC issue that has that logo from September 1979. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Now, as far as the issue itself, I love myself Jonah Hex. Come on, we've been talking about it since the show began. I was just talking about
Sure.
Michael Fleischer on Conan. Exclamation marks abound everywhere. This story, though, was not his strongest effort, and it has to do with a Native American seeking revenge and sending death notes to various men who have wronged him. And earlier we find, well, I mean, I'm sorry, later we find out were murderers that killed his wife.
Hmm.
But the story itself was just kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say, I was going to use the word meandering because, okay, this guy gets a death note, that guy gets a death note. Jonah Hex is supposed to save everybody. He's the hired gun to protect them. Like he's the guy, what's the word I'm looking for? Why am I at a lack for words when I know
Mm.
exactly the word I want to use? Enforcer,
Bounty hunter.
bounty hunter, but
Oh.
he's the enforcer, right? So they're paying
Hmm.
him to protect him. That's what he's there for. And
Okay.
then later in the story, what happens is he finds out, hey, these guys are a bunch of scumbags. I am protecting
Mm.
or trying to protect
Dicks.
dicks, literally
Hmm.
scummy people. So at the end of the story, he's more concerned with the fact that this Native American has gotten the upper hand on him all issue long and killed all
Hmm.
of his marks. So rather than let him go and say, you know what, these guys they killed your woman, man. They deserve what they get. He's like, I need to defeat him because I cannot look like some kind of yellow bellied skunk.
Second rate. Yeah.
Exactly. And then when I do defeat him, and he does, what does he decide to do? Take him to the law, which is very, to me, I don't know, you just used a bounty hunter. It
Mm.
was very less outlaw justice, more kind of like a tidy way.
After school special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. A very tidy way to
Uh,
end the story. So, Michael Fleischer, I'm sorry, but Jonah Hex number 28 was not one of your triumphs. The art by E.C. Cruz, I believe, was the interior artist on this, was fine. Nothing wrong
hmm.
with the interiors at all. So, I'm glad to have it. I needed it to fill the hole because I've only got so
Sure.
many issues to go to finish Volume 1.
Hmm.
The first half of Volume 1 you can find collected in Showcase, but the
Hmm.
mid to latter half, forget about it. It's not happening.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in finally completing the quest and getting all of my Jonah Hex issues. It just would be
Hmm.
a little unfortunate if the final issues I need to get read much like Jonah Hex number 28 did.
Hmm.
I wasn't terribly satisfied with the experience I had there. So,
That was
bummer.
like filling in the triangle numbering holes for Superman, and then realizing you have Man of Steel left.
Ooh, oh, Lord.
You know, where like Man of Steel, your fellow Schultz
Oh,
um,
Mark.
writing those, and oof, those were not great.
Yeah, I know. Filling those holes when you know the creative team is bad is
Mm,
a really, really painful thing. I know all about it.
it
It
is.
really
Yeah.
it hurts, man. It hurts. I'm kind of in that situation now with my Adventures of Superman run, where,
Okay.
dude, like unless they find him in a dollar bin, or I am in no rush to collect.
Which era?
Oh, the
Which
Imo man.
Stuart Immonen?
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Whose name is very hard. Everybody's name is hard for me to pronounce. We've established this so much over time here, but yeah, so I think his run is really, really icky and bad from what I've
Not
read.
great.
So I'm not eager to go out and pick up any of the stuff or any of the material from that era without it being at a severe, severe discount. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think one of the better things about this issue, and I'm actually looking for the image now so I can show it on screen, if you bear with me here, is something that I consider a lost art. Something
Hmm.
that we took for granted, which is very unfortunate because it was a highlight to getting to the back of a magazine, and that is there was a subscription page in this issue of Jonah Hex. I mean, I literally would have ran through a brick wall to
Mm-hmm.
sub to Jonah Hex because it looks like a wanted poster,
Yeah.
you know? And it started making me think about all the great sub ads in the backs of the big two comics growing up and over the years. Holidays especially. Some of the holiday ones were the absolute best ones.
Oh
But
yeah.
if you talk to a lot of people, they do in fact have favorites. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so I pose the question to you, are there any subscription ads from Marvel or DC that you hold in high regard and have a special place in your heart?
Boy, I'd have to. I'd need a little bit of a running start for that one. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now.
Really?
But your point is well taken. It is definitely a lost art. There was actually effort put into it. Where, like, you showed me that Jonah Hex ad there,
Right.
and something that was missing was the creator's name in giant print.
Mm.
Whereas now it's like Bendis, right? Superman.
Yes, yes.
It's like, hmm, okay. But I mean, back in the day, it was great.
Well, if you can see the screen here, I'm showing some. I
I
made a little
can, yeah.
collage. Nothing too fancy of some of the random, and I mean, there's so many
Mm-hmm.
sub ads for comics, and I did mention holiday ones are particular favorites. One of the
Oh
ones I don't
yeah.
have on screen here, and I know I kind of have a little bit small, so I do apologize for anybody who has a squint. But there's one, I think it was like the Hobgoblin, who's doing the famous, Green Goblin carrying unmasked Peter Parker, but instead it's with like garland or something instead of
Yep. Yeah, I remember that one. Hmm.
rope. And then the one on the bottom left there is a particular favorite of mine. I wish I could have found a bigger, more clear image of it. And that's Joe Fixit, Spider-Man and Wolverine
The poly
trying to
bag.
bust out of that
Yep.
poly bag. That one for some reason always stuck out to me.
Oh, it's a great
I
one.
think it's also a product at the time and when I was really heavy into my collecting because I was making my own money at that time and in the
Sure,
late
sure.
80s, early 90s, like doing babysitting gigs and stuff. So it was like, hey,
Yeah.
I can afford my own comics. Maybe I should subscribe. And as a matter of fact, I did. I would subscribe to the
Hmm.
Hulk later in life. Something I don't know if we've ever talked about either on the show. Maybe we have in private. But when you did
Hmm.
have a subscription, and when they did come in bags and boards, was like the boards themselves were kind of cool because they'd have like Eric Larson's Spider-Man art on them.
Oh,
They'd
really?
be a little bit decorated, and it was kind of a neat little thing to get in the mail. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
I do miss subscription art and concepts, and
Oh,
I don't know who
absolutely.
the designers were, or even all the artists involved and everybody else through the conceptual stages of this whole thing. But to go back
Hmm.
through time, and especially when you're reading those back issues and you see them, to realize how
Oh, yeah.
brilliant and
No,
ingenious and tempting
I'm,
a lot of
I'm
those
flipping
were.
through some of my books here, and like, there's a good Moon Knight.
But that's like a house ad, right?
Well, is the Jonah one a house ad
The
or no?
the Hex one is an actual subscription form.
Oh, okay,
It
okay.
has a little thing on the bottom that you can cut out of the magazine,
Oh, okie
clutch
dokie.
them pearls, cut it out of the book, mail it in, and get your sub. I mean, house ads, that's an entirely different topic.
That's a whole different, huh?
Can of
Yeah.
worms. Yeah, holy moly.
Hmm.
Because to be honest with you, there's so many fantastic. In Marvel, I kind of feel like Marvel, despite whatever you stand on the issue of who's better, Marvel or DC, characters, whatever,
Hmm.
when it comes to house ads, it comes to subscription ads and stuff, I think Marvel will always be superior to DC
Oh, absolutely.
in my mind.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. No doubt. Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt.
I'm glad you agree with me on that. I'm glad we're in agreement.
We're
We,
simpatico
we
on that.
are. And the funny thing was earlier in the program,
Hmm.
you had mentioned like taking it in an all new, different direction. And that the
Oh, yeah.
taglines associated now with new creators, how you get that.
Horseshit. Yeah.
Okay. How you get that in lieu of the option to subscribe and get something,
Yeah.
receive something in the
Here's
mail.
here's DC Connect.
Hold on.
Oh boy.
Hold on. Let me put you
How
full
do we?
screen here for a second
There
so
we
we can
go.
see that a little bit more.
Yeah, there you
Let me read
go.
that. Dan
Oh
Slott
my
and Raphael
God.
Albuquerque usher in a brand new era for the Man of Steel. And
Does that excite
Jimmy
you?
Olsen looks like he is high on some serious cocaine.
Yeah. I mean, does that excite you?
No,
Yeah.
not
No.
really. I mean, I'm already pre-ordered it. My pre-orders went through last night, so I will be subbing to that
Hmm.
book, and I'm
Sure,
hoping
sure.
it fills the void left by Action, since I'm
Hmm.
cutting Action.
You did decide to cut
Yeah,
it.
but I don't have to
Oh, it hasn't happened yet.
until this
Yeah.
month. Yes, indeedy,
Yeah.
lemon squeezy. So I'm still very confident, strutting down the street. I'm the master of my own domain. My wallet is for me alone.
Hmm.
And then,
But you
yeah,
you also cut it out when Bendis was on, right?
I was not collecting Action at that time. Period. So
Okay.
I didn't.
So
I didn't have
you
to cut
yeah,
it.
so you have a Bendis shaped hole in your Superman collection
I have
anyway.
random Bendis issues. I mean, I'm embarrassed to kind of talk about them, to be perfectly honest with you, because the Bendis issues I do own are
Hmm.
noteworthy, right? Probably
Hmm.
for all the wrong reasons. Actually, I know for all the wrong reasons. But
Hmm.
one is the return of John Kent as an
Hmm.
adult. Another one, of course, is, do I have to say it?
No.
Okay. All right. If anybody out there reads any Superman or has read Superman in the last, whatever, 5, 10 years, you know Bendis done make a mistake. And
Hmm.
they've already gone back and fixed this whole thing. They've erased it. This is right before the launch
But
of the new Superman series, or
but you can't really fix it.
you can't untoast the toast.
You can't. You can't unring the bell. No, it's of course we're talking about the Secret Identity coming out. Which and you held up that Spider-Man book just a minute ago. And around that time Spidey's Secret Identity was out too. And it's like you can walk those things back, but you can't untell the stories that came out of them. You
Uh
know?
huh.
Like for 40, 50 years, we're all wondering what happens if Jonah finds out that Spider-Man's Peter Parker. And then they tell us that story. So they can never tell us that story again because it's been told. Even if it's been undone, it's already been told. We know. We know how it'll
Yeah.
go because it was meant to be in continuity.
Yes.
Toothpaste don't go back in the tube.
I know. I know. But I don't know, man. You know, this does not
No, I
make.
mean it's not an Elseworlds.
No.
It's not a black label. This is main quote unquote
I
continuity.
dig. I was going to say, this does
Yeah.
not make for enthralling live streaming, me mulling something over mentally in real time. But I almost feel, and this is my initial response, is that I
Hmm.
totally understand and respect that point of view, right? I get it.
Hmm.
You're so right. Like, it's been told they had their shot, they took it,
Hmm.
and they effed it up. They failed.
Hmm.
But I'm also like, Mulligan. I don't know. Like, maybe if someone else could do it and do it better, could we try again? Could it?
But there's no anticipation for it.
I understand. And
That's the
maybe it'd
whole
be
point. The
better
whole point of a
without it.
secret identity is the anticipation of it being revealed,
Mm,
the fear of oh they have his hand on the mask. Is it going to come off? What happens if it comes off? Now we know.
yeah. Well, I mean, listen. How many times have we talked about in this very humble little program, Silver Age stories, continuity not
Mhm.
mattering? One issue, he could marry Lois Lane, Superman, for example. One issue, the
But
Flash
that's
could
a different
unmask.
era
I understand it's a
altogether.
different era. I understand, but we are in
Yeah.
many ways entering a new era, or we already are in a different era.
Hmm.
We've talked about how Marvel. The news was the X titles not going past 10 issues.
Hmm.
What? I mean, listen,
Yep.
man. How many times? I mean, I am a little long in the tooth, admittedly. Okay, but I'm a lifelong reader and collector of comics, and I have had to adapt over and over and over again. Whether it is everything's a what if, everything is an Elseworlds, is based on
Hmm.
writers. Continuity is dead. Okay, didn't like it? Fine. You adapt, you move on, you're still with it. It's something that's ingrained in you, part of your DNA. You continue. New number ones for every creative team. You know, these little annoyances and irksome things the industry does to you. Okay, fine. All right, we're on volume 22 of Dazzler. Wonderful. Okay. But then for some reason, this recent announcement, how Marvel was like, yeah, we're just slotting these things as ongoings for 10
Hmm.
issues.
Oh yeah.
Really, like, I'm going to push through it. I get it. I will. No problem. I eventually, right? But right
Because I
now,
mean, they
I'm
basically
struggling.
just said the quiet part out loud this time because it's been like that for a long time.
Well, DC was, we've talked about Green Arrow. You know, it was going to be a
Hmm.
limited, but then the sales were good, so they made it an
Sure.
ongoing. I get it.
Hmm.
All right, you know what I mean? But yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. For it to be spoken out loud and say this is the
Hmm.
mandate, this is what it is.
Hmm.
Behind closed doors, editorial, this is what we do.
Yeah.
We sit here, this is what we discuss. This is what we're offering you as readers. It's again, it's something I will eventually go past as I have survived all of it. But
Hmm.
right now I am internally struggling with that a little bit. You know what I mean? Honestly.
Sure. Sure.
So, is it enough for me to not collect comics? No. Is it enough for me not to collect X-Men books? Oh yes. Absolutely. Because X-Men isn't a title I'm super interested in, or the X books, other than maybe X Factor, Wolverine, a couple of things I'm reading.
It seems like a lot of people agree with you,
Mm,
considering the sales.
yeah.
They sell like Dan Slott's bathwater.
Oh boy. Oh god. I did talk to Dan Slott a little bit on Blue Sky this week, though. By the way,
Hmm.
I recommended an action figure to Dan Slott, so he owes me his life. That's
There
how
you
it
go.
goes. I'm like Rumpelstiltskin, brother. You don't realize what that little bit of advice is going to cost you in the long run.
Hmm.
But yeah, sales schmales. I mean, really, you know, there's something that's aggravated you for years, and how it's just like comics are just licensed properties for films and other forms of
Sure.
media rather than the other way around, and what have you. So essentially, all we comics are is a farm for
Hmm.
film. You would think, okay, if you have a Batman movie, right? And so your Batman books are selling like gangbusters. Or maybe there's no movie out right now, okay? But Batman is just a top notch property for DC. It's selling like gangbusters. That it would still support some of your profits. Hopefully, you are making any profit. But anyway, if you are turning a little bit of a profit, it's sustaining some of these more niche or smaller projects or books.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So maybe that's how something would form its sustainability in the publishing world. But here it just seems like spaghetti against the wall.
Oh yeah.
And we're just throwing books out here willy nilly and everything else. And of course, however long they last is however long we feel like publishing them based on behind the door mandates and everything else, which is discouraging. But
A little bit.
I'm a little afraid I'm going to start a rant I can't walk away from if I keep discussing that right now.
Fair enough.
So shut me up, sucker. I know you, my
Hmm.
friend,
Hmm.
picked up some books this week, some ephemera, some
I
of the
did.
cool Chris stuff that we love
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
see. So why don't you show it off and
Sure.
put my mind at ease here? Because right now it's a nest of freaking hornets going on.
Okie dokie. Yeah, I'll throw this DC Connect across the room here. So don't
Oh
need that.
boy, the gauntlet
And
has been thrown.
and while we're at it, we'll toss that over there
Oh
too.
lord, oh boy,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
must be
So
an
the
excellent
previews are
skee
gone.
ball player. With
I'm pretty good.
I
I
was
can
gonna
skip
say,
stones
yeah,
too.
oh yeah.
Um, yeah, we were out and about all weekend. Wife was looking for an autographed album, so we were popping into the record stores, stopped by a few comic shops too, filled in some holes, and I can't break one of my habits here where I buy things with the idea that it's going to become a project. That's something we've talked about a lot, right? Um,
It is, and I'm sorry to
and it's
interrupt you, but I need to run to the
sure.
front door. I just had a delivery of note. Great for this show.
Oh boy.
Yes, yes, but you keep talking. I'll be back. I just want to let you know.
Okay, then I'll go through some back issues that you probably won't care too much about.
Don't say such things. Okay, I'll be back.
No, no, it's true. It's true. Let's start with those while Dave's away. Um, as I talk about very, very often, I always threaten that I'm going to do this like a Teen Titans project at some point. Everything for me is a project. And so I pick up whatever I can find that I still need, which isn't terribly much. Um, and these are books that I don't want to pay a lot of money for, clearly. So I went to a shop, I think it was Sunday, where they had bought a collection, and so they had these boxes where I guess they pulled all the high dollar books out of them, and it's like, here's the leftovers, everything's a buck. So I went through and I found some good old Hawk and Dove tangentially Titans-ish. So I only need like, I think 2 or 3 issues of this now. I was very pleased to get this one here. I'm going backwards on the camera here. It's a Christmas issue. I'm a big fan of that. I think Kevin. Oh, there's a bunch of artists on here. I think no, McGuire's on this one. A bunch of artists are on this one, and it shows. So I got those. While I was digging in that same box, I found another issue that I would need for a Theoretical Titans project here. This is the hybrid two-parter, the second part. I've had the first part forever. I've never seen this one in the wild before. So it's the second part of that hybrid story with Beetle and the Titans. So got those. What else we got here? Another thing that another damn project. It's something that I actually started on the blog ages ago and quickly petered out of, and that is the Marvel Comics Presents anthology here. I only need a handful of these now, but they're also books that I really don't want to spend much money on. So got 4 more of those for the project that'll probably never happen. But at least now I can rest easy knowing that I could do it if I wanted to. What else we got here?
Hey, I'm sorry I'm late. I just noticed I missed some Blue Beetle, but you keep talking. I have my box here.
Did? Oh, awesome.
I will show it off momentarily. I didn't want to interrupt your stuff.
Sure.
So you continue.
Yeah, so Marvel Age is something that I always dug when I find it in the cheapo bins here. It's not something that I pay money for, but I like the idea of an in-house magazine where it isn't. I feel like if this came out today, it would be a giant circle jerk and very, I don't know, cynical. Where this is not. This is, it's basically just what it is, and it's a lot of fun. So I like having those. Wouldn't pay money for them, but I'd grab them for $1 or below. Grabbed Flash Armageddon annual here.
Wave Rider on that one, huh?
Yes, he is.
Oh yeah, Armageddon 2001, baby. Oh yes, my jam.
You betcha. I think I might have another one of them too here somewhere. But when I started jumping over from Marvel to DC, I've never really valued annuals. Even the Marvel stuff here, I would grab annuals for my completionists series. So like all the X books, I have all the annuals. When I came over to DC, I was like, screw the annuals. It's too much money. I don't want to spend. I've since kind of changed my tune on that. I have all the the Superman, the action, the whole Triangle era the books. I've been starting to pick up the Batman ones, and I wanted to have a full run of this volume of the Flash, and I only need a couple of annuals to go. I have the entire run, just not the annuals. Found this for $0.25, and this might be of interest to Dave here. It's the issue before.
Hey,
Alan Moore shows up.
Nice, very nice indeed. Yeah. You say $0.25?
The final Pasco. Huh?
You say 25 cents?
25 cents.
Even better.
Yeah, 25 cents. So there's that. I grabbed an issue of Ragman that has Batman on the cover. I thought that was kind of neat. Ragman, they had almost a whole run there in a 50-cent bin. But this is one of those series where I have like a smattering of them. So I was like, I don't know which ones I have. And I didn't feel like opening up the Excel spreadsheet and having to wait like a minute and a half for it to come up.
Can I ask you a question about that before you carry on? Was that Pat Broderick is the artist on that, the Ragman?
Oh, boy, it might be.
I'm making you stretch.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
All right, groovy.
Broderick.
All right, very nice.
Oh, there's the camera. Broderick.
Very nice indeed.
Unless it's a different Broderick, but I don't think it is. Impulse, one of them that I grab when I see him for $0.25 or so.
Is that Day of Judgment?
That is Day of Judgment.
You're totally hitting all the notes today with the event books, huh?
Oop, this way.
It's funny because how many times do I rally against, event books and just be like, oh, dude, don't have a crossover, go into the main book. But then in rare instances from my youth, I love them, like Day of Judgment or Armageddon 2001 or Atlantis Attacks, those sort of things.
Well, yeah, those like a lot of them were annual ones. Like Armageddon was only in the annuals. Right. Same with Atlantis Attacks. Day of Judgment, I hated. Oh boy,
you stink.
I remember I reviewed that for the blog years and years ago, and it was like, oh god, this is terrible. Not as bad as Genesis, but pretty
All
bad.
right, all right.
There's no subscription ad in here. I thought there might be, but there
Bummer.
is not. All right, what else we got here? Oh, another pile. Oh, here's another Armageddon 2001. Yeah, I mentioned I was grabbing the Bat annuals when I see them here. Is there maybe there's a subscription ad in here? No, not really. Okay. I grabbed some detective. Um, got this one here, Batman and Catman. This one here. I've been trying to do something for our friend Chris Yu. It's another project that I always talk about, but I wanted to do something that I was going to call the Toddnibus, a telling of the pre-crisis Jason Todd stories in order.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And yes, I mean it's a blind spot for me. And of course, the pre-crisis Jason Todd is basically Dick Grayson with red hair.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think it'd be interesting to try. It's just a matter of tracking them down. So
Right.
did that. Grabbed. This is not in the greatest condition. I think I got this for like $2, but it's an old Batman. Has the first ever Catwoman solo in it. So I thought that was kind of neat for a couple bucks.
Sure.
And then I was at that shop with that collection of new dollar books there, and as I'm checking out, I noticed he had a bunch of long boxes behind the counter, and I was like, "Hey, long shot, but I need one issue of Detective Comics to finish up my post-crisis run." And of course, it's a fairly spendy one. It's actually the first issue with Alan Grant as the writer, and it is this one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's this wonderful Mignola cover here. It's the first appearance of the ventriloquist.
Oh, even better. Dude, you know what?
Yeah,
That completes your run.
it
And
does.
I think that requires some celebratory music. So please
Ooh.
allow me to play something right now to make us all. Oh, yeah. Chris finishes his run of tech. Oh, yeah. Good vibes. Dude, how good did you feel that he had that in that bin?
Oh, dude, and because I've been looking it up on online because I haven't been able to. I saw it in the shop, this same shop actually, probably a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was $45. And I was like, that's a lot of money.
Wow.
Um, and I looked online not too long ago, and I was finding it like 25 to 50,
Mm-hmm.
anywhere in there. Mostly, it's kind of like 880. It's got that cover, man. It's one that jumps out at you. Um, but the guy had it behind the counter, and he did that thing. He did that thing
Don't
because it
say
had
it.
no price on it.
No, 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 no. How did he
It
look it
had no
up?
price on it. I don't know what site he used.
Okay.
Maybe he used comicbookrealm.com like we do.
Okay.
Um, but he looked it up, and the whole time I'm like, shit, what did I just do?
Yeah.
And he comes back and he's like, how's $10? I was like, $10 is okay.
Yeah. I dig
I'll,
it.
I'll do it. So so finally, Detective 683. Let's see if I can find it here on our price guide here.
Now,
See if
hold
maybe I
on.
got ripped off.
Let me ask you this while you do the search. Did you
Sure.
do any haggling? Was it like, well, let me inspect the book?
No.
No, it was just $10 sold. I don't care how many spine
Yeah.
ticks are on this son of a bitch. It doesn't matter. Mine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
See here. Oh, I got scared there. I'm looking at 683, not 583.
Okay.
Um,
Are we gonna
583
guess
is.
or anything here? Or is this gonna be an impromptu?
Sure, you want to guess?
Impromptu
Yeah, we can do it.
price guide is right happening
Yeah,
potentially
let's
right now.
do it.
Now, what year was this issue released?
This was cover dated February 1988. Cover price 75 cents.
1988, 75 cents. Hold on. You know what? Let's put a little production value
First
behind
appearance
this.
of the ventriloquist and Scarface
Bear with me.
Mike Mignola cover
Let
up.
me put a little production on this price. The
Do
price
it.
guide is right, huh? Okay, so that was fancy. Surprise! All right, so the rules of the game are as such. Anytime we do the price guide is right here on the Bada Bin show, we have a range, a buffer within a certain amount that I can guess as to the value of the issue. Three chances to get within that buffer to be either correct or dumb as hell. Chris, what buffer are you
Mhm.
giving me?
I'll give you $5 either way.
Okay. What condition?
Just
Just
generalized.
generalized.
Generalized, yeah.
I'm gonna say $15.
Low.
I'm low.
Mhm.
All right. $25.
Low.
Now, Chris, just so you know, you did mention you've seen it on eBay for 45.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
anytime I see or hear about someone trying to sell something on eBay, I think they jack that sucker up.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to, look for maybe some medium ground here. So my last guess, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say the exact amount you saw on eBay. I just keep going on by $10, keep going up by $10 increments. $35.
On the nose.
Yeah, right on.
$35.
Okay, groovy. Third time's the
And
charm.
I'm looking on eBay here and yeah, 35, 30, 20, 20,
Uh huh.
25, 50, 50, 25, 20. Holy shit. What?
What? What happened? What is it?
Look, you remember a few months before this, they ran a little story called Batman Year 2.
Okay, sure.
Todd McFarlane art after Alan Davis ran off.
Mm-hmm.
$400.
What? No.
Kidding me?
No, that's impossible. That's
Mm.
impossible.
I mean, because
No, you.
I
No.
don't think that's insane, isn't it?
I mean, how many times? And yet again, on eBay, you see,
It's eBay, yeah.
I want $1,000 for this book that's worth like $20, and it looks like it's been
Sure, sure.
getting musty and all.
Through the ringer.
Yeah, exactly. Coiled up in grandma's basement for the last 25 years.
Let's see here. Yeah, I'm looking on our comic book realm site
Yeah.
here. All four parts of year two.
Mm-hmm.
They have them valued at $32 a piece.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
So for that story, you're looking at $128. Okay, that's a lot of jack.
It sure is.
I got them for $1
There
each.
you go. Biggity bam, biggity boom.
Boy, oh boy, wow, insane.
All right.
Anyway, so yes, I finally finished my Detective Comics run from from Crisis till now,
Yeah, that's priceless.
and I'm working
bro.
my way back into those Jason Todd issues so I can put together the Toddnibus eventually,
Dude,
maybe.
I don't know, man. Like, how did you feel after you spent that $10? You had it in your hands. You're driving home. Were you like, yeah, like you felt a little jacked, or?
You know, it's weird because like I compare it to when I finished up my triangle numbering.
Uh
Where what is it? Like Caesar wept because there were no more nations to conquer or whatever. I'm
huh.
like,
Yeah.
what now? But luckily, I have the Jason Todd maybe project thing that I'm
Righteous.
kicking about.
Righteous.
So yeah, I'm still digging, still digging. Um, while I was at the record store,
Ooh.
I found a cheapo trade here.
Okay.
I think this is like a $25 trade. I think I got it for like $7.
Nice.
Then this is another project book.
Okay.
Of course, a project that's probably never going to happen. But there's a single issue in this collection that I wanted to have hard copy of for a potential thing, and it is The World's Finest Silver Age Volume 1. Beautiful book. Silly as hell. You mentioned the Super Sons dressing up in each other's costumes to go trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Superman and Batman do that in this.
Right on.
It's, I mean, it is all very, very, Silver Age.
Yeah, of course.
But the story that I wanted to have this for, it's funny. When I opened it up last time, it opened up right to it. Of course, it doesn't now. It is this one here. The Club of Heroes. I won't say what the project is, but some people may know right off the bat what it's going to be, or what it would be if I was going to do it. So there's that.
All right, cool.
Now, those are the comics. Now I just have a couple of pieces of ephemera here. Now, while I was at that record store buying the same World's Finest trade, I found this thing for a couple bucks. And it actually has a connection to the show because we've actually discussed the person who wrote it before. And it was it's a very deep cut. It is Batmania 2
Oh yeah.
by, by James Van Heist,
Uh-huh.
who did that weird X-Men like book blog
Yeah, right.
that I showed up several weeks ago. I was hoping, since like it says here, the comics, I was hoping there was going to be more about comics in here.
Uh-huh.
There is not.
Oh, bummer.
No, it's a lot of there's some, but it's mostly TV and movie. Um, there is some cool stuff here. Like there are actually some news items from when the movie was coming out. So like if I ever wanted to, because this would have been great to have when we did the flashback land for 1989, because
Sure.
there was actually like there's like transcriptions of like CNN reports from the movie and stuff. So that would have been pretty neat. But it's ephemera, so I
Yeah, of
grabbed it.
course. Even though when you sent me a picture after you picked that up, the first thing I
Hmm,
noticed was that price of admission on that book
15
was
bucks.
really, yeah, it was steep, man. So if
Yeah,
you wanted Batmania 2, you were willing to pay,
out the
yeah,
ass.
premium prices to get
Yeah,
your bit of
your
ephemera, I suppose.
your Van Heist
No,
fix.
indeed.
Yeah. Now the last piece here is something that I've been looking for a very long time and never thought to look for it online. Don't know why, but anytime I'm in anywhere that has magazines, and this is comics adjacent. This isn't a comic book magazine, but it's one that I've wanted for probably 20 years now. And as I was at this one shop, they had, I'd like to think it was inspired by me, but they have this like weird ephemera shelf now. And it's like, and all it says is like weird stuff. I'm like, okay, you're pretty much ringing my bell there. So I go through and I find this.
Oh yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
fondly. Sure.
Time magazine for Superman's 50th.
Mm-hmm.
Crappy article.
Fortunately,
Um,
yeah,
I mean, like, it's so many of my bugbears about comics history. They get Frederick Wortham wrong because, of course, they have to go into Frederick Wortham,
yeah.
and they get the reign of the Superman wrong. Superman is this bald scientist. No, he's not. No, he's not the scientist. He's the bum that the scientist gets. I don't know, but there are some cool photos in here at least. If I can find them. And you gotta love how like we're losing the war on drugs here too. So
Superman
get
can't
some
save us from
from
crystal
crack.
methamphetamine. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crack is his kryptonite.
Indeed, isn't it
Um,
everybody's?
yeah, there's some neat photos here, like Siegel and Schuster dressed up as Superman and Clark there.
Yeah.
There's I think this is who they modeled Lois Lane after. So it's pretty neat.
Huh.
So, I mean, for that kind of stuff, it's pretty cool. They spend precious little talking about the comics, of course. Um, but there was a bit in there with Christopher Reeve talking about, it was actually quite touching. Um, Basically, him being Superman for Make-A-Wish.
Uh-huh.
Like, he talks about how, Superman he like transcends being a fictional character. He said that children who were terminally ill, their only wish was to meet Superman and to talk with Superman. So he was able to do that for them, and that's pretty cool. And that's really what makes Superman so special.
Right.
You know, like I almost wish they would publish Superman without a writer credit on it because I don't want to know that there's a person writing it. I just want it to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be able to project anything. It's just he is basically everything that a comic character ought to be. Don't know, but I thought that was cool to find. I've been looking for it forever, and it was $5, so
Yeah.
not a crazy expenditure. I've never looked for it online.
Yeah, it's worth plunking down an honest Abe.
For sure.
I mean, it is an
For
excellent
sure.
piece of ephemera, and I remember that cover, and I didn't own the issue of Time. You know, it's Time. It's a grown up
Sure.
thing. You
Who?
know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, acknowledging Superman turning 50,
Hmm.
you know, his place in the cultural zeitgeist and
For sure.
everything that goes along with it, it's really special. And it is kind of
Hmm.
weird that you know when that was released, it's like okay, Superman's on Time, and now you know we are of a certain vintage, as you like to say.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, totally. I want that. I want to
Yeah.
own that as an important piece of American history in many
Yeah.
ways. So,
No, and they even reference where is it? This thing here in there, which I found. This thing is trashed. I mean, it's all stained and it's disgusting. But Superman at 50,
hmm.
which is full of interesting essays, including an analysis on why Superman is a virgin.
Oh,
So there's that.
okay.
But but I've heard about this, and it's one that I always had like on my watch list, and I found it. It might have been in the clearance section at Half Price Books. So
It most
I'm happy to have
certainly
it.
belongs on the shelf labeled weird.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, this is weird. And I guess the cover art's from Superman 139. I did not realize that.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah,
Very neat.
yeah,
Very, very cool. And I'm almost curious. I know the comics realm probably doesn't have Time magazines on there, but to me,
probably
five
not
dollars is more than adequately fair
for
to
sure.
pay for that. But I wonder what it would, in fact, be truly worth.
I just looked it up on eBay,
Oh, freaking
and it's
eBay again! A thousand
yeah, I
dollars.
mean, no, 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 about $10. About
$10.
ten
Yeah.
bucks. Not terrible. Yeah.
Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
accept it.
I mean, if I would have found it in that weird shelf for $10, I probably would have paid ten
Yeah.
dollars for it.
What would
Yeah,
your cap have been? When would you just said, "Nah, I'm gonna hold off,"
probably $10.
because you haven't seen it out in the wild.
No, I've never seen it before.
So I mean, that's saying something right then and there.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, maybe I can.
but $10
Yeah,
probably.
$10. All right, $5 steal. Like I said, honest
Oh
Abe,
yeah, yeah.
an honest price for a very cool
Hmm.
mag.
For sure.
Well, I mean, I do know I missed some of your early flipping through the issues that you've acquired,
Yeah,
so I apologize for that.
you missed Hawk and
I,
Dove.
I saw the Hawk and Dove because it's funny. We are on a delay. So we can
Oh,
drop the show
okay.
if you just suddenly go stark raving mad, frothing at the mouth,
Hmm.
ripping off your clothes, running around. I can just whoop dump.
But why would you want to take that
You're
off?
right. You know.
Oh.
But anyway, I noticed the Blue Beetle when I was walking back through the room,
Hmm.
and I don't know if you got any more things to show. So I don't mean to
No, no.
hijack your time here, but I went to the door to grab this package. I was sitting on my stoop, and my kids watching this show. It's not really full disclosure age appropriate, but it's the animated version of the Invincible of the comic on
Okay.
Amazon Prime. They drop like it's language mostly this
Hmm.
inappropriate. But I was walking through and I was like, "Oh, cool! You like it?" He's like, "I love it." I'm like, "You're gonna hate this so much." I'm like, "Cool. So you probably want to check out the comics then, right?" And he's like, "Nah." I'm like, "All right. I'm going back to my
You know
live
what?
stream.
I'll agree with them there.
I'll see you later." Oh yeah. Have you ever read Invincible at all, or
Hmm.
oh, you have? It's not great.
I was there from the start.
Ooh, and
Did not care
oh
for it.
boy. Well,
Yeah.
apparently the TV show is a hit with kids my son's age because he says all of his friends have seen it and everything else.
Mm.
You know, that's also a selling point when he's like, "Dad, listen, man. I know they swear a lot and stuff, but all my friends have seen it. I mean, yeah, come on." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." On Super, I got a live stream to do. Do whatever you want. Just don't set the house on fire.
There you go.
You know.
Yeah.
So anyway. So since you're done with
Yes,
your cool
I
stuff,
am.
are you ready? And I'm a little nervous here to reveal
Hmm.
what was just delivered because it's something I pre-ordered a long time ago, well over a year ago,
Hmm. Oh,
and it got.
well, how about you vamp for a bit here? Because I got to grab more water.
Yeah, you do that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do some
my throat. I'm a little
unboxing.
verklempt here.
Okay, you
I'll be
do
right
that.
back.
So as I was just mentioning, something I pre-ordered a very long time ago, and it got delayed. Anytime a pre-order gets delayed, I'm a little heartbroken. But alas, I'm like, well, this is from Amazon. I'm like, they don't charge me until it ships. I guess it's okay. What are you gonna do? Anybody who's ever watched the Bada Bin show in the past probably realizes my DNA, my comics DNA, I guess, to use a very tired social media kind of trope here, tired like the word trope itself, is Hulk. I love Hulk. And I'm a huge fan of the Peter David, Jeff Purves era of Joe Fixit with the Hulk. So I don't own every action figure that Joe Fixit or, a little bit of Chris's favorite word, ephemera, associated with Joe Fixit. But I did see that Diamond Select was coming out with a statue. And so I'm like, dude, all over that, man. I gotta freaking have this thing. And it's heavy. This box is heavy. So I did slice open the top. Hercules. Just so I could easily access. I haven't looked in the box yet. So I'm a little concerned something's broken. And live on the Bada Bin show, you get to see a grown man cry. But I'm going to open this sucker now and show you guys if it was worth the wait. Damn, this is heavy. Oh, this is when wired headphones don't pan out so well. And I know I'm grunting and groaning. Anybody watching this is like, is this some creepy ass, like, senior ASMR or something? I'm muting this because I'm throwing it. I threw that box, so that's why I muted my microphone. And Chris has just come back in an opportune time to reveal what was in the box. I already told the viewing audience what was in there. And I don't know if glare is going to allow me to show off the window of this. And Chris, you knew I've been eagerly anticipating the arrival of this Joe Fixit statue for quite some time now.
Long time.
I pre-ordered it a long time ago. And I will say, holy moly, this thing is ginormous. So let's get in that box. How does that sound? Anybody down for that? Let's do that. Dave, shouldn't you be keeping this in the box? Aren't you a grown man who collects things, and things should always remain in the box for their utmost value? You know what, guys? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Action figures, most times I will keep in the box now. But statues? No, baby. These are for display. And as a matter of fact, if you look behind me, you may see like these clear boxes that have some figures in them now. And the reason why I even bought those initially was to display this when it arrived. I do apologize for squeaky noises and the weird, awkward, probably aggravating sounds. But alas, that comes with the territory here. The pop. Aha!
There you go.
I'm struggling. I got no muscles. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. They secure these things like nobody's business. And people have not seen the statue yet. All they see is my grinning face as I try to, very unsuccessfully... Ooh. Oh, hello. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal. Check that out. I almost feel like I should be cleaning the camera. On my view, it looks a little blurrier. I don't know how you see it, Chris.
A little blurry.
A little blurry. Maybe I should... But this is... Amazeballs. This is so Jeff Purves. It is off the charts. Oh my god. I don't even know if I have a cleaning rag. Maybe my camera's greasy or something. Maybe bear with me 1 second as I... Maybe that helps. Maybe it doesn't help. I don't know, but... Dude. This thing is great. And it is going to go on display above my shoulder there in that beautiful plastic case.
There you go.
Chris, what do you think? I know you're having a hard time seeing it. I know my camera's not necessarily the best, but... Dude. And the cool thing is like a roulette table on the ground, another broken one, a bunch of chips laying there. And I'm not talking about Eric Estrada.
Is that inspired from a cover? I'm thinking of a
No.
cover, but like his face is all in shadow in that cover
You
that
know
I'm
what?
thinking of.
Maybe it's from the most because the box is decorated in all the most recent Joe Fixit Mini. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
I know
okay.
exactly. You read my mind. Ugh. But
Mm,
I don't recall seeing this in particular. I will say it is so Jeff Purves. It's perfect.
there you go.
There I go. Indeed. You said it a few times already, and I swear to you, you are right. This definitely smells of plastic. I don't know how durable it is. The paint on
Mm,
it seems fairly immaculate. It is really a nicely done statue here. So yes, I am a happy boy.
there
I
you
am
go.
fourth time you
Beautiful.
said it. There you go. You get a nickel every time you say "There you go."
I do. I do.
Okay, you get a paid
Yeah.
endorsement from the "There you go" people.
It's a peso.
Whatever, man. I'm telling you, you get 20
Hmm.
of those, you get $1.
Almost.
But yeah, if you are a fan of the late '80s Joe Fixit era, Jeff Purves, Peter David run, I'm so glad I waited on this. I didn't balk and cancel. Oh, what a beauty! I was
Hmm.
telling the audience that like I was afraid doing this live on air. This is while you were fetching some hydration. I was going
Hmm.
to open
Hmm.
it and it'd be broken, and they'd see a grown man
Oh, that would
cry. Yeah,
suck.
I know, because I know what it is, and I'm so excited for it. So yeah, so you will see him in that glass. And actually, I don't know if you can see that case behind me very well, but the McFarlane Hulk is in
Yeah.
there, and that to me is probably one of my favorite figs of all time. Like I love
Hmm.
that. I think it's beautiful, and
Hmm.
this is a very, very ample addition to the collection. My wife is going to be so upset with me. I'm in so much trouble, dude. Like we went out to do some things today, and we were talking. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm a little broke, so before you start suggesting to do anything fancy, keep that in mind. And so she's gonna come home and be like, "You said you were a little lean on funds there, buddy, and here you are with a brand new statue in your little case there." I'm gonna say, "Oops, sorry."
I paid for it a year
You
ago.
know, that's the funny thing was I did little backstory here. It was even more than a year ago when I first pre-ordered it,
Hmm.
and then I came across some like coupons for Amazon, whatever. And so
Okay.
I was like, I canceled the order, and it said the delivery date was gonna be a few days later, and I hesitated. I'm like, I don't
Okay.
want to wait. I want this thing immediately the moment it's released. But I'm like,
Hmm.
but I saved like half, and all right, all right, all right.
Oh yeah.
And so I did it. And then like a week before it was supposed to be shipped, that's when it was like, it hasn't been outright canceled, but it's been delayed.
Hmm.
And my heart went
Okay.
boo, like, dude, for real, like, I want this so bad. So alas, to now, finally, and timely, on the day of our Lord, March 19th, 2025, during the Bada
Flavor
Bin.
Town Day.
Yes, no, no, no. During the Bada Bin show live stream, it arrived. So, and they didn't ring my doorbell. Luckily, I was checking an app because I knew it was coming today, so I knew it
Hmm.
was there. So,
Very cool.
very indeed. Oh, I'm a happy guy. So I'm gonna hang up with you now and go put it on display and just look at it and go, excellent, excellent. It's amazing how little things can create so much joy in your life, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to take what you can get.
Oh, oh, absolutely. And to be perfectly honest with you, I know we've had discussions in the past wherein like I definitely am the kind of person that I can find a happy place. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Interestingly enough, an event I was at today, there was a
Hmm.
man sitting behind me, adorned in what one could adequately call a curtain. So I don't know
Okay.
if he was a Buddhist, if he was in fact a Hare Krishna with a copy of Doctor Strange. I don't know,
Hmm.
but he was of
Hmm.
some sort of faith that that's all he was wearing and sandals.
Okay.
And so me and my son sat in front of him, and he was talking to some woman stranger, explaining some of the the essences of his faith.
The trappings. Yeah.
Yeah, to her, and he was like, "Oh, when we are born without possessions, beliefs. We are born without this and that and that. So we can't let those things, in fact, as you just stated, trap us
Hmm.
as we continue our lives. So I don't live life with possessions." And with all due respect to anyone's belief system, I was so close to turning around and just saying, "What about action figures, you moron? They're freaking
Hmm.
fantastic. How can you tell me life is better spent without plastic? You know? Had I not feared being kicked out of said event, I probably would have done something like that because it was so itching. It was just like gnawing at me, like, tell this guy he's wrong, you know?
Well, what about books, you
What
fool?
exactly? What about comics? What about all these things, you know, to live without those? But he went on to talk about, I don't know, how he kneels and sits and everything else to the woman. And I don't know if she was actually really taken by the conversation or if she was just being polite.
She was just stuck sitting next to him.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You were right.
Interesting.
That's it. That's it. You know? But anyway, yeah. So that was today, and it is truly even beyond Flavortown Day, Bada Bin live stream show day, the day that I sat in front of someone who believed that material possessions were nothing than a big load of malarkey.
Yep. In this year of Guy Fieri.
It does, yes. That my Joe Fix-It statue arrived. So I say, suck it, bedsheet man, curtain wearing charlatan. This is what it's all about. So anyway, where were we? What was going on? You know what? We have talked about thus far this episode, me, you, comics, Bada, but you did make a brief reference to possibly working on a project to satisfy the needs of yet another member of this humble little program.
It's true.
Who contributes each and every week as much as we urge everyone to. He is the rock. He is the one guy who will never fail you. And that is Chris
Very
Yu.
true.
And Chris Yu sent us an email this week.
He did. Let me pop over to that screen.
Please do. I would like you to maybe get into that right now. That'd be wonderful.
Yes. Oh, the Toronto Los Angeles Documentary Feature and Short Film Festival is interested in my work.
Okay. You know, aside from emails,
I have no work.
Chris, when we are about to go live, Chris will read like news blurbs from your computer screen. And one of the ones you told me was there was a new Sun Chips flavor coming out.
Yep.
Is that newsworthy? Is that something we should be discussing either here or in the future?
Oh, perhaps. I mean,
yeah.
I think was it Hickory Barbecue?
Was that what it was? It was something barbecue,
I think so.
honey barbecue, and I was like,
honey barbecue.
I was like, okay,
right. Yes.
And I quickly replied, I haven't had a Sun Chip in like 25 years, so
same.
And I liked them.
Same. Me too.
But I don't know if a honey barbecue is enough to pull me back into the fold. If they had Joe Fix-It flavor,
maybe. Now, I just found out also a much-loved KFC item is finally available stateside. Should we find out what it is?
Wait. So this is a foreign KFC item. Do we know the country of origin?
It is from...
Yeah.
No, it just says it's now available in the United States. I don't know if it's... maybe it's something we originated and it's finally...
come back.
Here. It is the Dunk It Bucket.
Dunk It Bucket.
Yes, mashed potato poppers that you can dunk in various sauces and gravies.
Doesn't sound half bad.
No, I bet you it's really good.
But I have not eaten at KFC since the mid-'90s because as a teenager I worked there, and many people will say wherever they worked it was the most disgusting experience of their lives.
You know how the sausage is made.
KFC was pretty freaking gross, people. I'm just letting you know now. Back in 1996, KFC was definitely not a place you wanted to dine at. But I digress. Shall we get into Chris Yu's correspondence?
Let's see here. Yes. I'm checking here to make sure there's no other big news here.
Okay.
Skittles' latest candy creation is coming to a drive-thru. That's big deal.
Okay. What drive-thru?
Let's find out, shall we?
Please, will Skittles have their own what?
Rita's Italian Ice.
I love them.
Yeah, Rita's is launching a Skittles Italian Ice.
Okay.
So keep your eye out for that.
What does that have to do with the drive-thru?
I guess Rita's has drive-thrus? Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, we'll get back into... I won't go into the Jolly Rancher flavor that's taking the nation by storm here. We'll just go into Chris Yu's email. And we will start with, hello, the Bada Bin Show. First off, I would like to say bloop bleep whir bzzt tweet beep bop boop, which we all know is R2D2 speak for hello Bada Bot. Welcome to the show. Very, very nice. The new equipment brings a fresh look to the show. I enjoyed the text crawl, easy for me to say, across the bottom of the screen when each of you was in full screen, like I am right now. I'm definitely going to start telling every stranger I meet on the bus that they need to watch the Bada Bin Show on YouTube. And we would ask not to limit it to the bus, like anywhere, right? I mean, subway cars, the laundromat. I think the laundromat's a good place for
Any
us. You
public
think?
space is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, yeah. Public restrooms.
Well,
Just have you bought a bin lately?
can you imagine kind of
Um,
like leaning over to the guy in the other urinal and be like,
yeah.
"Hey,
Psst, psst.
hey, you want to hear about the bada bin? What?
You, you like comics? You like variant covers? Um, my favorite new optic in this episode, though, was when you were talking about the new comics and you were both on the left side of the screen with the cover image on the right. I literally said out loud when I first saw that screen, "Oh, this is new. I like this." Neither of you looked stretched with your boxes over one another in that configuration. There we are. Plus, we got a longer look at the cover of the issue you were talking about. It is something I never knew I wanted until I saw it before my eyes. And yeah, we have a lot of new bells and whistles, eh?
This is true. I am going to be interested in Chris, you and others' opinion on this modified version of the top and bottom split screen thing we
Mm.
get going on here, because I don't feel as we're as stretched out as I mentioned earlier as we were before.
We've only gained 5 pounds.
Yeah, correct. Right. So maybe
Hmm.
this is usable going forward. But you know what? Feedback is important. Feedback is the key because the conversation is one thing, right? Me and you, we're just talking as we normally do, always, regardless if people are here or not.
For sure.
So it's good to kind of give them something, a nice format to
Hmm.
digest what we are spewing out here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. When I read Justice League Unlimited #4 and I saw Tefe, I immediately thought to myself, Dave is going to love this. I'm not a big Swamp Thing fan, but I do love seeing once important characters make a comeback. It was nice to see Tefe make an appearance. I hope that the JLG, Justice League Green, is just some meta commentary on the creation of teams like Justice League Dark and not a hint of things to come. I don't know. What do you think? I'm guessing we're probably going to get something,
Yeah,
right?
I would. When we talked about that issue, I also was like, please, no, we don't need this. But the fact that they even brought it up,
It's Chekhov's mention there.
yeah,
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 it's
exactly.
gonna
The
happen.
fact that Mr. Terrific's like drawing it in a sketchbook, like a teenager in a homeroom.
Yeah, and it's Trapper Keeper.
Yeah, yeah, is basically like, you know what, something is coming down the pike, and it's going to be from Mr. Mark Wade. I guarantee it. So Dan Moore better
Hmm.
be drawing it, otherwise it's going to be a very, very painful experience.
True
Yeah.
that. True that. Let's see here. Looking back at that John Byrne Wonder Woman issue with Cassie Sandsmark, I don't think I ever noticed how much Cassie's first Wonder Girl costume with the black wig and goggles made her look like her mother. Same hairstyle, and the goggles look just like glasses. I'm now wondering if Byrne did that on purpose for some reason, and it just went over my head all these years. I think he just draws people with what we call RBF, resting burn face. You know, and all of his
Yeah.
characters have very similar faces. Um, I remember I think it was Marvel Age or one of those like fake, year in review things that Marvel would put out. Like they'd make it look like Time Magazine or like a Rolling Stone cover, and it's like Marvel in 1991 or
Yeah.
whatever. And they had like 8 pictures of like I think it was Hank Pym, and it's like John Byrne bringing the Aryan race back, and it's like one of them was like, "This is Quasar, this is Captain America, this is Hank Pym, this is Hawkeye," and it was all the same picture,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, Byrne, he draws faces like that, and I think he was still in Marvel's good graces at that point. I think he was doing Namor at the time, so I don't know, maybe he was in on the joke
That
too.
make for a funny T-shirt, I suppose.
I think so.
Real quick.
Maybe without the Aryan mention on it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Totally, 100% agree. I was at Burlington Coat Factory. Actually, I think it's called Burlington
Mm.
now. The other day, and they had some Marvel shirts, and one really struck me, and I kind of wanted to buy it.
Hmm.
And I don't know what issue of Marvel Age it was, but it was the cover of Marvel Age reproduced. It was
Okay.
recapping Spider-Man #1 from Todd McFarlane. It had the
Hmm.
corner box on it with Four Bush Man like in it, and I'm like, wow, this looks amazing, and it's '90s, but
Hmm.
I couldn't buy it for a couple
Mm.
reasons, and the number one reason was
Hmm.
the word balloons were blank. So if there was like a blurb on it, and one thing was in fact a legitimate word balloon, there was nothing in it. Yet
Really?
they bothered to include a blank word balloon in the design. And my son is with me, and shopping with a kid, he's want to be there. You know what I mean? So to see a
Hmm.
grown man like agonized over this whole thing, like, should I get it? But dude, you know what? Stop. And it's like an $8 T-shirt. I'm like, there's
Sure.
no words in the word balloon. I feel like I'm betraying myself. I don't feel like a real collector if I buy this shirt. Like I'm selling out.
Let's see. The word balloon was supposed to say, "And I promise not to rip up your X-Men comics."
Okay. So why couldn't
Yes.
they include that? It's
Don't
funny because on
know.
the bottom you get that cover in front of you now. It's like
Yeah.
winner of whatever on the
Yeah.
bottom.
Winner favorite publication about comics, CBG Fan
That's
Awards.
on the shirt.
Is Jim Lee Speaks on it?
I don't think so, but it does say they won
Okay.
the award, and I'm like, what? This design is so perplexing.
That's odd.
And
Yeah.
I
It's issue 90 of Marvel Age, if anybody wanted to pull it up. Yeah, there's a box that says Jim Lee Speaks, page 12. And if you missed Spider-Man #1 the first time, this is your second
that it
chance.
did say. So
Okay.
whoever designed that shirt, I would love to slap you right in the mouth because
Right in the
you almost
face.
had a sale. You almost did, and you blew it. Because, dude,
Blew
it's a
it.
cool looking cover. Plus, it's got McFarlane's
Sure.
Spidey on it.
Well, but you can't go wrong.
Dude, there's some really weird designs in Burlington that day, comic book related. I don't. This is Chris
Mhm.
Yu's little moment. His. I don't want to like hijack it.
I don't think he'd mind. This is
All right,
interesting.
then real quick. Here's another one.
Mhm.
Was it Spider-Man 350 with Eric Larson who did the he did like a pinup and it was half Venom Spidey, half websuit Spidey.
Okay.
A beautiful image by Eric Larson. I love Eric
Mhm.
Larson's Spider-Man. And it takes up the whole back of the shirt. I'm like, "What? This is great." But then you flipped it around to the front of the shirt. The same image was in like the bottom corner. So I'm standing up to kind of give you a description. It'd be like
Mhm.
down here by like your hip. And then there was no image here, but on the shirt pocket, I don't know who drew. There's like a Spider-Man head, and behind it, in almost like death metal lettering, it was like Spidey, 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 like 4 times. And I'm like, does someone have like some weird OCD or something who designed this
Mm,
shirt? Like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Who would
that's
who
odd.
first? Who would design this? And two,
Mhm.
despite the fact it's got that amazing Eric Larson image on the back and on the hip, who would buy it? It's just so weird and erratic, you
Mhm.
know? So they were really killing me at Burlington that day because I'm like, you almost had me. And these
Yeah.
designs were almost perfect if you just left well enough alone.
Maybe it's a Burlington employee with like a screen printer or something.
Maybe. Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna sell my damn shirts.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like I might have mentioned on Bada Bin before, me and my son had this whole discussion. I was explaining like the heat set printing process compared to silkscreen to him one day, boring him half to death.
Mhm.
But today, most shirts are in fact like these heat set shirts, so they don't last
Mhm.
as long as a silkscreen. And
Mhm.
these were obviously the same thing, and you can kind of tell, like when you touch them, they're almost rubbery or plasticky
Yeah, I got
feeling.
that plasticky
Yeah,
tackiness.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so when you say that, like someone probably just had like their own little like heat press or something and made them. I'd buy that. Like unlike the
Hmm.
shirt, I'd buy that concept or
The
idea in
theory.
theory.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, back to Chris Hughes' email. I'm sorry, but that
Yes.
just something that drove me insane.
No, I mean that's ephemeral
Oh,
stuff. Interesting stuff. I
hurt me
like it.
bad.
Chris continues here. Those Earth 85 Detective Comics issues were the first issues of Detective I ever bought. They bring back a lot of memories. This is my favorite era in DC history. Plus, still the red-headed circus trapeze artist stole Dick Grayson's origin, Jason Todd, in those stories. And if anyone at DC is listening, he needs an omnibus, or at least a DC Finest edition. The Toddnibus. You never know. I wanted to let Dave know that I had read the 8-issue Namor series this past week and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually wish it would have gone on a few issues longer. I wanted to see an interaction with each of the 7 kings in its own dedicated issue, but it was well worth the reading. Another great recommendation from Dave.
Great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm
Yeah.
getting issue 8 tomorrow
Hmm.
in my shipment. And you wish it lasted longer, Chris. Well, let me tell you, it probably would have lasted 2 more issues. It would have went to 10, and then Marvel would have said no mas. They would have tapped out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, it's weird because I really I think the DNA, and I've mentioned this, the DNA of the Punisher series I thought he wrote was brilliant, is very
Mm-hmm.
similar to
Sure.
Namor, and they're both limited maxi series, I guess you could call them.
Sure.
If
What did Punisher run? 10 or 12
12, I
issues?
think, or was it 10?
Okay.
I'd have to double check. I want to, off the top of my head, I
Yeah.
want to say it was 12, but I
Okay.
could be wrong. But had it been an ongoing, because here's the thing, right? Both of these series are based on what would essentially be a concept that could only last for a couple arcs before you'd have to
Sure.
kind of stretch out and do something different. So, that being said, would they be as good if they went 16, 20,
Mm-hmm.
32? Probably not. So, yeah,
No.
there might be the benefit of having them encapsulated in these more condensed, standalone maxi series. You know what I mean?
Kind of off the, kind of on topic, but off topic
Okay.
at the same time here. Marvel's been fast and loose with this in the past several years, but had that Namor, would that Namor series have been okay to come out with a legacy number?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah,
Absolutely.
because sometimes Marvel will do that with their minis.
Hmm.
Like they did a like the Gwenpool Strikes Back mini a few years back, and that actually had a legacy number on it. It was only a 5 or 6 issue series, but it had legacy numbering continuing the ongoing, which I think only ran like 20 issues, but still, it had the legacy with it. I don't know if that's something that either company would bark up that tree, maybe to get themselves to a rounder number at some point, like if something's on the horizon. But I don't
I
know.
was going to say, I guarantee you those will be included when they're
Hmm,
trying to hit Namor 200 and
yeah,
charge you $8 for an issue of Volume 8 Namor 3 or
yeah, number
whatever.
three,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So it is. Okay, so Namor, and I'm trying. I always pause, and you can see me buffering when I'm trying to do something without any real hardcore spoilers or anything.
Hmm.
And there is something that can draw the ire of many fans if it's done poorly, and it has been done poorly the majority of time. And that is
Hmm.
like a retcon. That is, or establishing, um, like tweaking continuity a little bit, or adding elements to
Everything
it.
we thought we knew
it
was wrong.
well, here's the deal with Namor. It's not necessarily like that, but he is establishing characters that you haven't seen in Namor before. Yet they are part of his backstory, going back to when he was a child. You know what I mean? The
Hmm.
difference here is, and I think Jason Aaron was pretty brilliant with it. It feels organic and natural, and it's not interrupting any of the mythos of old to the point where you think he's crapping on the character. It fits. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Sure.
So I think that he did a really splendid job with that in Namor in particular. The Punisher series, I think, was also a natural progression. It made sense where he took the Punisher and Punisher's role
Hmm.
in that series as a leader of the hand. You know what I mean?
Sure.
With the whole Beast storyline and the King of Killers and everything else like that. And plus, his motives in that series was something that I also think was natural. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hmm.
So in those senses, and that's another reason why I think, because these two comic series I hold right now in such high regard, had they gone on and he had more time to maybe even elaborate, or a lot of the problems with his writing that I have are his longer ongoings, citing Avengers as the number one
Yeah.
culprit. You know, I think is perfect, and it's almost like if Jason Aaron only wrote these chapters, these little
Yeah.
notches,
These blocks. Yeah.
blocks, these chunks. Let's come up with another fun word to say. He'd just be top notch all the time, A plus. You know what I mean? And he's a very
Sure.
talented guy. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
It's just when he hits, man, he hits so hard, but when he misses, it's sad.
It's a whiff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whiff. Yeah, right.
All right, we can wrap up Chris's
Okay,
email here. He says, wait a minute.
Rutro.
I think you may have experienced some technical difficulties at the end of the show because the audio cut out during the chili dose. I know I never listened back to these or watched these back, so I didn't know that. Shit.
Well, that would lead me to believe that you have shortchanged the audience,
Yet
and
again.
that eventually, I don't, you know what? It's a taxing story to tell.
It is. It really takes a lot out of
It
me.
does. It
It's an
exhausts
emotional
you.
shiatsu massage.
Right. So I don't
Yeah.
know if now is the
Well,
appropriate time.
Chris says, "Don't worry about it. You don't need to tell it again."
Oh, okay.
He has a project. He's going to take up lip reading, and he's going to figure it out. Maybe he can share it.
Yeah.
I told it. I was throwing up the whole night.
Yeah.
Reliving that.
Yeah, I know. I
You
I
know.
had like the crying game moment in the shower after hearing it.
Yeah,
Forever,
biting the rag.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
forever
just
unclean. So yeah, but point
might need a
remains.
running start.
It
Yeah.
is valid. I think in the future, maybe you might want to touch on the chili dog story again. And plus, listen,
Uh,
man, we may attract new viewers in the future.
True, true. We have a very large archive already.
Hmm.
There's 30 episodes. Every episode's about 7.5 hours. I mean, we got a lot of audio out there.
Yeah, we do.
So yeah, maybe down the line when I get my bearings back.
Hmm.
I mean, I was sick that whole night.
Yeah, yeah. And as a matter of fact, wait, what's
I
that?
can't look at napkins.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Bada just chimed in too. He said he
Hmm.
was very upset by the telling of that story, and
Oh, did he censor it?
I don't know. Bada, did you censor the story?
Did you purge?
Oh, no, 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 no! You can't be saying that on air. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Mm-mm.
whoa,
Uh,
whoa, whoa! Let's move on, shall we? Let's.
let's do it.
Any
Yeah.
any more other Chris Hughes comments on the chat from last week or
No,
something?
he is looking into lip reading classes. He saw a
Mm,
Groupon for it in the
okay.
paper. So before long, the chili dog story
Groupon
will.
still exist?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, that's funny because I once used a Groupon. I think it's the only time in my life I ever used a Groupon, and that was for a subscription of Mad Magazine.
Groupon still exists. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it does
Okay.
exist. Oh, and pop-ups aplenty. So yes,
On Groupon. Are you on the
on
group?
Groupon.
Okay. Get away from there.
I got off. I'm
All
done.
right.
I did want to check our last week's episode here to see if there were any
Mm-hmm.
comments. And that would be, I always click the wrong folder here. I go to videos instead of live.
Yeah, we got to tighten that up a little bit. There was one where full disclosure, I swore at the end of an episode where I thought it was off air, and I didn't want there to be
Hmm.
that lasting flavor left with the audience's palate after watching the episode. So I went back and edited it. It's the only episode I've ever put an edit on, and that's all I did was just cut out the old, swear.
The MFer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as you recall so well. So
I do.
when I did that, unfortunately, I took it from the live stream page and put it on a videos page. I couldn't figure out how to
Okay.
undo that. So, but
Hmm.
luckily, we do have. I forget the name of the tab. I do want to say it was like archive or live stream
Like
page.
a playlist
Yeah,
or,
yeah, one of
yeah.
those, and everything's going to be listed in chronological order
Nice.
on there. So that's an
Let's
option.
see here. We do have comments from our friend Chris Yu on
Awesome.
last week's episode,
Okay.
which is episode 29.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I always thought Byrne just drew She-Hulk in Wonder Woman's costume and had her skin colored in flesh tone when he was doing Wonder Woman. That's a good point.
Okay.
Very good point. If you don't like Wonder Woman, you will hate Byrne's Wonder Woman. Yes. I'm pretty sure that Namor's lack of nipples is part of his mutation. Once you grow wings from your ankles, your nipples disappear.
Wrong.
No prize there, huh?
Nope. Try again. Try again another
Mm.
day. Not buying it. Much like
Let's
the
see here.
shirt in Burlington.
Mm-hmm. The new stretched out top and bottom screen reminds me of the old Sega Sonic the Hedgehog 2 game where you could race Sonic against Tails in a stretched out split screen like that. That's very true.
Chef's
Very,
kiss.
very
That was
true.
completely spot on. That was the best comp I've
Hmm.
ever heard.
And since Coco Beware was the first person to take the Tombstone piledriver from The Undertaker in the WWF, and The Undertaker was later accused of setting his family's mortuary on fire and killing his parents, oh damn. Oh damn. Maybe The Undertaker set fire to Coco's house that killed Frankie the Parrot.
I replied to that comment and I wrote, "Can you please write that again in a language I can understand?" Because what is this? What's going on? I don't understand any of this.
Oh no, I wonder.
This
I'm looking up the
wrestling
news here.
backstory gobbledygook. I don't know what the hell is going on here.
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah. There's no
you
yeah, there's
researching or
no
what?
I'm researching, yeah, I'm
Okay.
researching. We can get a Coco Beware and Frankie the Parrot 1987 Topps trading card
Okay.
for $4 and
What are you
69 cents
researching
or
here?
best
Or are
order.
you shopping? What's going on?
I'm doing both.
Okay, all right. So wait,
Coco Beware, Frankie Fire is
all
what I'm
right.
looking
That's
up
what
here.
you. I was gonna say. I didn't know if you were looking at the whole mortuary fire or what. I don't.
No. Oh wow. Yeah. 10 things you didn't know about Coco Beware. Frankie died in a house fire. We knew that. We knew that. Come on now.
Yeah.
Is Coco Beware still alive? Yes,
Okay.
he
The
is.
new sunship plate flavor is called fried Frankie.
Let's
Is
hold
that on there?
on. Oh no, there's a find a grave for Frankie.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
Where
he
they?
died in March of 2002.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, I don't want to go deeper into this.
This
This
is
is gonna. This seems like
dark.
it's gonna be really dark and mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Rest in peace, Frankie.
Yeah. Sorry about the sunship comment, Frankie.
Hmm.
My bad.
Sorry about the Undertaker.
Yeah, we blame Chris Yu for this entire foray into darkness. It's his fault.
Uh-oh.
What's that?
Chris Yu is in the comments.
Uh-oh. What did...
Sorry I'm late. I just got in from buying 2 copies
Uh-huh.
of World's Finest number 37. He's getting them slabbed and giving them as gifts.
Oh. Two...
It's Flavortown Day.
I was going to say, who does he hate? Who is this nemesis of his that he really wants to destroy their lives?
It is Flavortown Day, the most blessed day of the year.
Well, the worst thing is if he slabs it and it's like a 9, not that 9.6 or 9.2,
Mm-hmm.
and then he gives it to somebody and they're just going to keel over and die because he'll be like, I didn't get my 0.6 on that slab, you know? Oh, man.
See, don't say fried Frankie. You're giving Guy Fieri ideas for dishes.
Exactly. Oh, boy. This guy's full of zingers, huh? He may be late to the party, but he is full of
He brought
moxie.
the A game.
Indeed. Holy macaroni. Well,
Let's see here. Guy
oh,
Fieri,
jeez. What's happening now? What?
fried parrot.
Oh, boy. What?
Guy Fieri eats fried chicken. Viewers begged him to try. No, he didn't cook a parrot yet.
All right.
Guy Fieri doesn't like eating eggs.
Little things I
no.
never needed to know. Chapter 1. What Guy Fieri does and does not want to consume.
He won't eat eggs. He'll eat duck tongue tacos, but
Dude,
he won't eat eggs
I've told you I don't like this guy. Okay?
because he's so handsome.
No, because he's so disingenuous. Like, the whole thing is an act. He is not, and we've discussed this. When we initially talked about that variant cover for World's Finest, it was like he was on a reality show. He was trying to create this personality that he could find some success with and be on the Food Network with. And so this was just the character he chose. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And for me, with reality TV, I know a lot of it is fraudulent. 99% of it is fake. It's not reality TV at all. I get it. I am a product of watching the real world when I was a teenager. You know what I mean? I understand.
Judd Winnick.
Yeah. But when it comes to, and listen, I've softened my stance on Mr. Judd because I used to treat him a little harshly, as you well know. But, like, okay, that, I don't know, whatever it is, for some reason, I don't watch a lot of food TV, but when I do, I want some authenticity from the host of this Food Network show. I don't need this larger than life
character
creed. I don't need Gene
or
Simmons
caricature
from Kiss spewing blood and you know, with a tongue 8 inches long. You know, this is a amazing cheeseburger. I don't need all that. Just be.
I just came across a
Whatever.
biting piece of journalism here
Yeah.
from westward.com.
Okay.
One of my very favorite sources of information. 5 reasons why Guy Fieri should drive to Douchebagistan and never come back.
This is my new favorite website. I love it. Yeah, I was just about to dismiss it. My hand was up in the air like, all right, whatever.
Okay. Number 5.
Yes.
His style screams douchality. He has hair like a space alien porn star pubes and wears sunglasses clinging to the back of his head like a pineapple garnish grasping the rim of one of his garish cocktails. Guy's guyisms are off the douche chain. He says da bomb, balls deep, and D's nuts, apparently. Mac Daddy Roni salad, slamma jamma parmigiana. He calls himself a culinary gangsta.
Okay. Oh boy.
That's a hot frisbee of fun. I'm driving the bus to Flavortown.
Sorry.
Number 2. He's not an American Joe/Jane representative. He's a douche.
Yeah, yeah.
And 1, Guy Fieri reminds the writer of this of the douchiest part of the 90s that they'd rather forget.
Yeah, well, no mention of his beard. They did mention his hairstyle, like the goatee going on. And here's the deal. Yeah. Ultimately, he fabricated a character that made him very successful. He had enough gusto and, to get up out of bed one day, set himself a goal, and go for it. I can respect that, okay? That much, listen, I understand. He's got more money than me, more success than me. I mean, in every essence of being a successful contributor to society, he probably has me beat in every category. But ultimately, just as that writer aptly stated, he is a giant douchebag, okay?
Yeah.
To which I will always continue to dislike and make fun of him for that very reason. So
Anthony Bourdain called him a douche back in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel a heartfelt way for Guy Fieri. I wonder about him. He's a 52-year-old and he's still rolling around in that flame outfit. What does he do? How does Guy Fieri de-douche?
You can't undouche the douche. You can't put the douche back in the tube.
You can't.
Oh no!
He's still rolling in that flame outfit.
He's like Bam Bam Bigelow. Oh god.
So wait, is he wearing the flame outfit on the World's Finest cover?
I don't know. You look it up.
Oh god, I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up.
He takes up way too much time on this program.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Oh.
He is oh come on, BatmanNews.com. Where's the variant cover? There it is. Okay.
What is he wearing?
And it's a Dan Mora cover too, isn't it?
I don't think so. No, really? I don't think so.
It says
say it ain't so.
Let's see here. Peak Dan Mora, Batman, Superman, World's Finest.
Oh, the pain. I can't believe I'm Googling this now.
Yep.
Oh, you can't.
Someone on Reddit called it their personal 9/11.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, jeez.
Oh, and then someone else said the Flav and the Bold, who I don't do that.
Oh, that is Dan Mora. I can see now by Superman, everybody in the top.
Superman's face, yeah.
I'll tell you what.
But he's not wearing the flame outfit.
No, he's wearing the Cesar Millan shirt.
Who's that?
He is a dog trainer. This guy, Cesar Millan, he's like, my son used to watch like every episode, and my wife couldn't stand the dude. But he's always like better human, better dog. Like that's one of his slogans because.
All right.
Like, and listen, I don't know how true his show is because yet again it's reality TV, but it is amazing because even if a fraction of it's true, like how you behave, how you feel inside is how what a dog will react to, right? A dog is hypersensitive to your feelings, your emotions, and so he'll go to a house with an unruly dog, where the dog's nipping at people and stuff, and he just asserts dominance and this like confidence over this animal, and flip of a switch, this thing is obedient and happy and everything else. So yeah, Better Human, Better Dog, I think is one of his shows. But
so could he de-douche Guy Fieri?
I don't know, man.
He'd be like, flame shirt off.
I don't know. Off. But the thing with him is he wears a black T-shirt and everything.
Huh?
There's another Google search for you. Google Cesar Millan.
It's a Head and Shoulders commercial.
Easily, right? And whatever he's using, it's working. And he seems like a nice guy. And he's
Okay.
also uber rich and everything else. He's got like his own compounds, his own products, everything else. But he doesn't have that douchey factor like Fieri does.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, if he's not 100% authentic, that's fine because he doesn't seem like he would stretch it that far to make this
No, he's still on
clown.
TV. Yeah.
Right, but he's not this clown,
Yeah.
with a just it's too much for me.
He's not rolling in the flame shirt.
No. And now I'm looking at this cover. This is so bad. You're right. Dan Moore, he's amazing. Again,
This was blood money cover.
I call him Saint Mora, so he can do no wrong in my eyes. But what is Superman eating here? He's eating a burger, and I know we featured this on a previous episode, and we had this image on screen.
Mm-hmm.
But I could almost swear that the Guy Fieri was looked a little bit different, maybe a little bit more bloated. But alas, anyway, here we are at the end of the Bada Bin show for Wednesday, March 19th, 2025.
Flavortown Day.
Flavortown Day. And this is what we've reduced and simmered or covered, reduced heat and simmered to, is yet another discussion about our disdain for Guy Fieri. So, yes, indeed. You did mention, if you check our archives and look at our episodes, we have a lot of video out there, a lot. But
Sure.
I will note, since we've been doing these Wednesday night or early evening shows, they have been getting a little bit shorter. Because the midday shows, when we do those, is no itinerary or agenda for us to commit ourselves to for the rest of the evening.
Yep.
But as pseudo-functioning adults, it's well... We have
Ain't that a bitch?
I know, significant others that require our time. Kids need to be fed, whatever the case may be. So we do have to cut them slightly shorter. But since we do always like to end the show talking about next week's episode, I will say Wednesday would be very beneficial to me. So if you're free again Wednesday around this time,
Possibly.
I think we could make something work. And last time out, I teased all the back issues. Unfortunately, I didn't have very kind words for any of the back issues, but I did mention I'm getting a batch of new comics tomorrow, so I will have a bunch of fresh. See, we'll have
mine come tomorrow too.
New books to discuss and talk about on episode number 31. So that's a wonderful thing. So yeah,
yeah. I think you're 2 hours ahead of me now.
Okay, I don't understand the time change thing. It's like a VCR.
Yeah,
I don't get it
because we don't change time here.
Yeah, you're lucky. It's a stupid thing. Stupid.
It's very dumb. It should go away.
Very antiquated concept. I don't know why the hell we keep doing that.
No, but now I guess we're at the same time as California right now. So we're still mountain technically, but we're 3 hours behind east now.
All right, so let's explain this. I am an idiot. So right now it's 5:51 p.m. Central Time, so it's 3:51 p.m. for you.
You bet.
Okay, wonderful. I'm glad we established this.
Yep.
All right, Chris, well, that's all I get to talk about this episode. Until next Wednesday, we get the brand new books. You know what I will do? I think I'm going to take some pictures of this Jonah Hex, of this Joe Fixit fig.
Oh yeah,
and maybe give a better detailed look at it because again, new computer, BadaBot's helped me out a lot, but apparently my camera is not the best for showing things off on air. So what are you going to do except take some pictures and try to feature them next time out?
I like it.
All right, man. Well, if there's anything else you want to add, I'm about to hit some exit music and hightail it out of here.
Thanks, everybody.
Right,
See you.
Well, thanks, everybody. Virtual hugs for all of you. I let Chris say his piece first so I can ramble on as we hit the road. I love you. You guys rule. If you ever want to reach the show, badabinshow@gmail.com. Bye-bye.